Oh, the format should be 5 minutes.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, May 31st, 2020. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 1247.
This is No Agenda.
Under globalist attack and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we're all sad about the end of the career of Amy Klobuchar, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Oh, man. You had to go there first? Really? That's the first thing you're all jacked up about? About
Amy? Yeah, because I spent all that time writing that essay.
Yes.
With all the rationale, all the reasons in the world why Amy's going to be picked as the VP.
Yes. I
can't be the only one bothered by this because I'm sure the Biden camp isn't too happy.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think this came from outside groups who wanted her out of the picture.
I don't think they even thought about that part of it.
Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, I really think so. In fact, hold on a second. I have it here.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Brother.
No, I think there's...
I'm all ears now.
There's other...
Second half of show.
No. There's other Democrat... That has nothing to do with that. There are groups who do not want her to be in. They have a different agenda. And I'm going to find... I have a clip for you. Hold on. It's from The View. Now, when it's from The View, it's not their own opinion.
Yes, you have that correct, sir.
Yeah. So where is it? Sonny Hostin. Here we go. This is from, I don't know if this is their Friday show, I guess.
And it's just an example of the double standard that we see in policing and that we see really across this country. I mean, in Minneapolis, black people make up about 18% of the population, yet 40% of the arrests. And they're usually for non-violent offenses. This man was stopped allegedly for an alleged forgery, and alleged, I might add. And so you're saying, we're seeing that black people in Minneapolis are arrested at 9 times the rate of a white person for non-violent offenses. That says something to me. And I think, when we talk about politics and we talk about Joe Biden's selection for a vice presidential pick, that is why the black community has said that Amy Klobuchar is a non-starter for them.
Whoa, did you hear the black community come out and say that? I must have missed that particular announcement. That's bullshit, John. That's bullshit right there. That's no black community who came out. Let's continue.
Because in many respects, from 1999 to 2007, she declined to prosecute over 24 cases. In
many respects. Okay, some detail there maybe?
Involving police killings of unarmed people. And so when you look at that, you look at that systemic problem that occurs there. Right. Black people at this point are saying, we are being disproportionately affected and targeted by the police.
And this is not new.
No, Whoopi, it's not new. John, first of all, we're under a globalist attack. There's no doubt about that, what's going on here. We're under an attack by globalists, and yeah, I know it sounds like I'm a crazy crackpot nut job, but I'm looking at you, George Soros, because of all the little groups that you fund that were busy over the past 4 days. And so I have every reason to believe that this was either cooked up when it was happening, like, oh, this is groovy. Finally, we can get that white woman out of the way. Because I think this is where it came from. It came from media. And did you see any representative of the so-called black community coming out and saying, hey, while this is going on, Klobuchar, look, it's her fault. I didn't hear that. I'm sorry. I didn't hear, hey, ho, ho, Klobuchar, go, ho.
No, hey, ho, ho, Klobuchar's got to go. Hey, ho, ho, Klobuchar's got to go.
I didn't hear any of that. None of it. No, instead, when I saw this all coming down, and I was watching Thursday night after the show, I saw immediately what was going on. And I said, this is not the so-called black community, which insinuates African Americans. No, this is Somalis who are breaking shit, who come from a very different culture. Very different culture. In fact,
what's a Mali?
Mali?
You said Somalis. Oh, Somalis. You sound like you said Mollies. I'm thinking, what?
No, Somalis. Here's, let's see what I want to have here. We have some boots on the ground stuff that I wanted to play for you.
I'll say this, that the Somalis then are really good at looting.
That's exactly what they're good at, and I'm just looking for this one clip that says that exactly. Shoot. Oh, no. Yeah, I know. It's, here we go. This is it. This is one of the protesters.
Man, I want to give it up to the Somalian communities. We need to learn a lot from y'all. Y'all one of the strongest allies we have. And we have disrespected y'all, and y'all showed us that y'all on the front line with us. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never seen a motherfucker throw a rock like a Somalian.
Oh, okay.
And I'm telling you the truth. We need to, hey, for real.
Yeah, exactly. Somalians, they come from war-torn where they have been fighting for a long time, since the early 90s, against their oppressive government and other factions within their country. This is much more their culture. And as you know, there's a huge Somalian immigrant population in...
massive.
It's like 25% of Minneapolis or something. And
well, the total black population in Minneapolis is only 18, so it's less than that.
Well, that depends on what you say is black. You define black, and where does that statistic come from? African American or all shades of non-white? Bullshit. No. The problem is black.
That's the number that's bandied about.
I know, but the problem right now is the definition of black. I got Mo texting me saying, now do you know how effed up it is to be called black? He says, this is not me. This is not my brothers and sisters. This is the Somalis who are starting this for sure. And let's just get of course, biased report, but this is from Fox News from 2016, just a little bit about the situation in Minneapolis.
Terror connection leading right back to the Twin Cities. Federal authorities say that a man's been arrested on terror-related charges. Major concerns in the Somali community over a terror recruitment video that was released by Al-Shabaab.
It's often the lead story in the Twin Cities. Terror recruits coming from Minnesota, where thousands of Somalis relocated after civil war ripped their country apart in 1991. We're here in the Cedar Riverside area of Minneapolis, what some call Little Mogadishu. These towers have long been a symbol of a very large Somali Muslim population here in Minneapolis. What some would say an increasingly insular Muslim population.
And that insular Muslim population received a representative in the 2016 election, and I believe that she is complicit in what happened here, and I'll give you all the names.
Give her name.
Ilhan Omar.
Yes.
And I believe that she brought in a whole bunch of these little groups, and I have names like Reclaim the Block, Black Visions Collective, North Star Health Collective, Unicorn Riot, CTUL, Minnesota Freedom Fund. Every single one of them is a small little nonprofit. They have a Form 990, between $150,000 annually gifted to them by unknown donors, up to about $1 million. Of course, it's all open society institute and foundations. The Black Lives Matter, the two founding members of that, these two women, both come from Soros-funded organizations in about the $1 million range. And listen carefully to what Ilhan Omar says when queried about what's going on, and you'll hear her say that she was with her groups behind this.
It's really heartbreaking to watch what took place last night and what continues to happen. To watch our city burn really is one of the most devastating things that has happened to us. It's also devastating to know the anger and the frustration that people feel, and have it be really evolve into a situation that is dangerous for everyone. Minneapolis has time and time again been faced with situations like this. And there have been leaders who have organized these protests, who have been part of creating a safety plan. And because the dynamic is different with this public health crisis, there is a void. And I'm asking for the community to step up to help us figure out how to organize together a more peaceful protest that has safety nets in place.
So, good work. You guys saw the opportunity, took advantage of it. Went out, and then you noticed that people were a little more fired up than usual because they've been held in their houses like animals, all of us, for several months. And your safety plan didn't take that into accord. Oh, yeah, exactly. I think part of the safety plan was these bricks.
This right here?
Yeah, they put them there.
This the setup.
They put them there on purpose,
Y'all know where we at.
They gonna set them hoes right up on the route.
Y'all know what building this is right here. I ain't even gonna say what name it is.
Hey, where do them bricks go to? Where do them bricks go to? Where do them bricks go to?
We gotta do better.
Ain't no damn construction.
Gotta do better.
Ain't no damn construction.
These guys are standing right in front of bricks, a pile of bricks. They were everywhere in cities all across America. Bricks dropped off near shopping streets. Just random bricks, all of a sudden. Very similar to what appeared in Hong Kong. Bricks all of a sudden. The side of the road. Very convenient. So what happened here is that a situation evolved, and I think that needs to be discussed as well, what exactly happened with the cop and the now dead black guy. Well, let's say the white cop and the dead black guy. We've got to be so careful, make sure everyone hears it all right. And they activated plans immediately. Let's go. This is what we've been waiting for. Perfect opportunity. And who jumps in on that? LARPing white kids who are underinformed and over-socialized. The Antifa backpack, black-clad shitheads who are living seriously in suburban areas with their parents. They get, now it's our time to go and break some shit. Just like the same creeps in Berkeley. It's exactly the same outfit. Pay attention to it. Who's out on the street? More white people than black people.
Before we start focusing, do you have to mention this happened in San Francisco?
Yep.
They had the white kids doing all this, making a fuss, bringing all the police toward them, and so then the black looters. And by the way, San Francisco's got its very talented looters. It's been going on forever. They loot all over the place. The cops aren't there; they're distracted, and then they have to come and chase the looters off. And they did some serious damage. But then we had looters in Oakland, and we had looters in Emeryville, of all places, which I think was just opportunistic because Emeryville has one of those shopping.
All opportunistic, John. They were breaking upscale shops. This was
that was
upscale.
smart money.
This is up. Yes.
Well, apparently Rodeo Drive got looted.
Well, but this is what I'm trying to explain. We've gotten to the point where these underinformed, over-socialized children, they are so ridden with guilt, with white guilt, and learn the term white fragility, that they have to go and absolve themselves by breaking their own shit now. They're not going into poor neighborhoods. They're breaking their own Starbucks and their own Target. I'm not kidding. That's what's going on here. And all of these were flyered. I saw flyers for L.A. On Thursday right away. There were pictures everywhere. The Black Lives Matter fist, dress in black, meet in front of the cop station. This was a coordinated attack.
It was a coordinated attack. There's no doubt about it. And it all happened at the same time. It's very coordinated.
Yes, it completely. And all I get from black people I know, and when I say that, I mean ADOS, is holy crap. They're really taking advantage of us now. And even Killer Mike, who I would say people were heralding as the man with the message and who's going to calm us down. He talks out of both sides of his face. He's wearing a T-shirt that says "Kill our masters," and of course Atlanta was also had all kinds of problems. And within 1 minute, he'll take it right from all that to "you got to vote." And you know what he wants you to vote.
I didn't want to come, and I don't want to be here. I'm the son of an Atlanta City police officer. My cousin is an Atlanta City police officer. And my other cousin, East Point police officer. And I got a lot of love and respect for police officers, down to the original 8 police officers in Atlanta that even after becoming police had to dress in a YMCA because white officers didn't want to get dressed with niggers. And here we are 80 years later. I watched a white officer assassinate a black man. And I know that tore your heart out. And I know it's crippling. And I have nothing positive to say in this moment because I don't want to be here. But I'm responsible to be here because it wasn't just Dr. King and people dressed nicely who marched and protested to progress this city and so many other cities. It was people like my grandmother, people like my aunts and uncles who are members of SCLC and NAACP, and in particular, Reverend James Orange, Mrs. Alice Johnson, and Reverend Love, who we just lost last year. So I'm duty bound to be here to simply say that it is your duty not to burn your own house down for anger with an enemy. It is your duty to fortify your own house so that you may be a house of refuge in times of organization. And now is the time to plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize. It is time to beat up prosecutors you don't like at the voting booth. It is time to hold mayoral offices accountable, chiefs and deputy chiefs. Atlanta is not perfect, but we're a lot better than we ever were, and we're a lot better than cities are. I'm mad as hell.
So Killer Mike is influential, and I think this speech went viral. It's about 8 minutes in total. But that first line, cops are assassinating black people, that was the one that hit home. And there are white kids going out today. Cops are executing people right in public. And we need to talk about what happened. But let's listen to Maxine Waters' message about this. Could she be like Killer Mike and try and keep some calm?
I think that the officer who had his knee on his neck enjoyed doing what he was doing. I believe sometimes some of these officers leave home thinking, I'm going to get me one today. And I think this was his one that he got today. And he didn't care whether or not anybody was photographing him. He did what he was doing. And the officers who stood there and watched him are just as guilty as he is. And I'm glad that all of them were fired. There's no reason for the police to do what these police did. And they don't even mention in the report that the knee was on the neck of George Floyd. You give them the right, they would say, to shoot you if you interfere with an arrest. And so it's dangerous. And citizens are doing the best job that they could do by photographing it.
So she says, yeah, there are cops out there. They wake up and say, I'm going to go get me one. I can't wait to kill a black man today. Possibly, Maxine, but do you think that's what you need to be saying at this moment? Or should we get a little more details and everything first? Doesn't matter, because we all know whose fault it is. We know who's really responsible for this. And the man to tell us is Don Lemon.
Russia interfered in the election of the president of the United States in 2016.
Oh, shoot. Hold on. That was my surprise clip for a moment. No, that's not the one I wanted. Nice setup, Curry. Here.
Nobody wants to hear from the White House or the Attorney General right now. No one wants to hear from the man who wanted the death penalty to come back from the Central Park Five. No one wants to hear from the man who says that the former president was not born in this country. No one wants to hear from the man who says there are very fine people on both sides.
By the way, Yamiche was saying the same thing on MSNBC yesterday. I couldn't get the clip. She was saying the same thing. They're all bringing back the very fine people lie.
Do you understand what I'm saying? No one wants to hear from the person that they perceive as contributing to this situation, situations like this in the society. Not directly, but allowing people like that to think that they can get away from this. No one wants to hear from the birther-in-chief, from the sons of bitches calling person who says that athletes who are kneeling for this very reason. No one wants to hear from that. The president should send out a press release and say, I am monitoring what's happening here. I am dealing with it. This is a top priority. He doesn't need the U.S. attorney to do that. And again, I said what I said about this president and the environment that he is contributed to in this country. And that is the God's honest truth. That's how black people feel. The person who said...
Again, another representative of the black people.
...said from Klansmen and racists and Nazis and anti-Semites that there were very fine people on both sides. No one wants to hear that.
Yeah, you had to double down on it. That's sorry?
By the way, Biden said it
in
his little talk with Judy. He brought up the Charlottesville hoax.
Oh, yeah.
And it was brought up by one other person I heard. I think it was another commentator. I don't remember. But everyone's bringing that back into the fore, even though it's bullshit. And I just want to collect these, and I want to make sure that Scott Adams gets a copy.
Yeah, so let's make sure we get the Yamiche one as well, because she is the premier woman of color, because she's Haitian American, the premier woman of color journalist on PBS, no less, who throws this crap out there. But that's okay. We got all kinds of people who are activated, like the mayor of Chicago.
All right, Dana, thank you. Well, President Trump's tweets about the protests last night are taking center stage today. He first criticized the mayor of Minneapolis for lack of leadership, called the protesters thugs, and then tweeted, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts."
Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot had a strong reaction to the president's tweet.
And I will code what I really want to say to Donald Trump. It's 2 words. It begins with F, and it ends with you. I will not remain silent while this man cynically tries to turn this incredibly painful moment into one for his own political gain.
J'accuse. Wat je zegt ben jezelf. This is what they're all out there doing, is using it for their own political gain. It was disgusting to watch. And meanwhile, Attorney General William Barr came out and made what I think was an important and necessary statement.
Already, initial charges have been filed by the state. That process continues to move forward.
And that's about the against the cop.
And justice will be served. Unfortunately, with the rioting that is occurring in many of our cities around the country, the voices of peaceful protest are being hijacked by violent radical elements. Groups of outside radicals and agitators are exploiting the situation to pursue their own separate and violent agenda. In many places, it appears the violence is planned, organized, and driven by anarchic and left extremist groups, far left extremist groups, using Antifa-like tactics, many of whom travel from outside the state to promote the violence. We must have law and order on our streets and in our communities, and it is the responsibility of the local and state leadership in the first instance to halt this violence. The Department of Justice, including the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, the ATF, the DEA, and our 93 United States Attorney's Office, U.S. Attorney's offices around the country, are supporting these local efforts. We'll continue to support them and take all action necessary to enforce federal law. In that regard, it is a federal crime to cross state lines or to use interstate facilities to incite or participate in violent rioting, and we will enforce those laws. Thank you.
So initially, the Minneapolis mayor said that there were, I think he said everyone that we arrested is from out of state. He walked that back. It wasn't everyone, but it was more than half. And yeah, these people were bussed in. Before we get to the cop side of it, because I've talked to a lot of law enforcement, EMS, over the past couple of days, getting a little bit of input and feedback. Let's just listen to the Minneapolis mayor, who this is a millennial wimp. He's like doughy-eyed, like deer caught in the headlights. Very, I guess you'd call him a handsome man. You could totally see why he was chosen, but he is out of his depth in all of this. I got a question about the president's tweets.
Mayor, I have the president's tweet here. He sent out 2 just in the last couple hours. One personally attacking you. There was an earlier one calling you a radical leftist and a weak mayor, and to get things under control. And I have it here. I can't stand back and watch this happen to a great American city. A total lack of leadership, says the president. Either the very weak radical left mayor Jacob Fry get his act together and bring the city under control, or I will send in the National Guard and get the job done right. That was the first of 2 tweets from the president.
Well, let me say this. Weakness is refusing to take responsibility for your own actions. Weakness is pointing your finger at somebody else during a time of crisis. Donald Trump knows nothing about the strength of Minneapolis. We are strong as hell. Is this a difficult time period? Yes, but you better be damn sure that we're going to get through this.
Oh, yes. This one's for the Gipper. Go for it. We'll take that hill, boys. But he was pressed on the question, in particular about the abandonment of the police, of the 3rd Police Precinct, and the decision to do that. And by the way, yeah, that's a chopper, people. Get over it.
Mayor, some people have questioned whether you made a conscious decision to let people go into the 3rd Precinct and offer it up as kind of one of these healing spots that you had referenced earlier in the day. Is that how you were approaching it?
No. The decision that I made was for the safety of our officers and the safety of the public. The symbolism of a building cannot outweigh the importance of life. It's a decision that I did not take lightly. I understand the importance of a precinct, but we are able to regroup and continue providing the same service to the 3rd Precinct as a geography.
So the reporters were pressing him after that about, well, when did you make this decision? Because the National Guard secured the 3rd Precinct building around 3:45 in the morning. When did you make the decision to bring in the National Guard, who apparently had been ready for several hours? He didn't really remember, but Governor Walz does.
Well, Governor Walz made it clear that he did not agree with the decision to abandon the 3rd Precinct, but he said it was out of their hands because Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey didn't make the call to call in the Guard until 12:15 a.m. Walz says that the Guard then took control of the 3rd Precinct by starting at 3:40 a.m. Walz made it clear that the state is now in charge of law enforcement, not the city of Minneapolis. He explained the process further and said that it's the job of local mayors and police departments to give the National Guard a mission when they request them, and that was never done. Walz called it a lack of coordination and a lack of knowing what they needed to ask for.
The reason we're standing here today is if this would have been executed correctly, the state would not lead on this. The state would have supported those and they would have moved forward. That did not happen.
The mayor of Minneapolis called and said they had no more resources and they were not able to meet the public safety needs and control the behaviors that were occurring on Lake Street.
Now, Mayor Frey has not responded to any of this. At a 1 a.m. press conference, he claimed that he didn't remember when he made the call to give up the 3rd Precinct, and that he also made it seem that he had requested the National Guard earlier than that. We had an interview set up with Mayor Frey today at 3:30, but he canceled.
Wait a minute, hold on. He did it at 12:30, and by 1 a.m., a half hour later, he couldn't remember when he did it.
That's right.
That's great.
That's right. That's right. Now, about what happened. Did you see the full video, or at least what is available of the full video?
What do you mean
I'm sorry. Video? Well, there's a full video that starts with of the cop on top of
that video.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that I saw the full video or not. I've seen pieces of the video. I didn't sit there and watch 9 minutes of it.
I did. I watched everything, and I watched all point of views, and I got in touch with every single cop and EMT that I know. And the report that came out from the indictment kind of confirms what they're saying. First of all, just from a television producer perspective, wow, the guy sat there and just let him die. I mean, that's exactly what you see. And despite people yelling and saying, bro, stop, 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 and the cops are protecting him and they're waiting for something, well, ultimately it's the ambulance. And just to debunk that this ambulance wasn't a real ambulance and there weren't real cops, believe me, all the EMS uniforms check out. Their procedures in that situation when you have a crowd is very typical for them not to do anything. They'll get you into in the ambulance, the mobile office. That's where they want you to work on you. But the optics of this, holy crap, right down to central casting, this cop looked like a fucking killer, man. It was horrible.
The thing was, it was horrible.
Yeah. Now, let's just do some data points. I'm not defending anything, but it's important. And we have a lot of cops who listen. They have opinions too. Everyone agrees this should not have happened. Most agree that this particular tactic of the knee on the neck is definitely not advised. And many would say, we all know it's dangerous, but I'm looking here at what I believe to be part of the training manual for the Minneapolis police. And it specifically says neck restraint, non-deadly force option, explains exactly how you can do it. When you can do it, conscious neck restraint may be used against a subject who is actively resisting, shall only be applied in the following circumstances: on a subject who is exhibiting active aggression or for life-saving purposes, or on a subject who is exhibiting active resistance in order to gain control of the subject, and if less effective. So it's not like this is an unknown tactic in Minneapolis. So that's where your core problem is. But what happened to this guy is what we didn't see and don't know. And that, I think, is reflected in the report. And that's why it took them so long to come up with a charge, which is now third-degree murder, which I think that's appropriate. Could have been second, depending on what we find out. But there's a gap of 5 minutes that you don't see, where there's a struggle between the two men, and there's some evidence of that after the fact, as you see the officer's badge is all askew, so there's definitely struggle. In the report, they say that the guy fell to the ground and was complaining about not being able to stand up, and 6 foot, 200 pounds, couldn't get him into the ambulance. But because there had been a struggle, this is what I've been led to understand. If there's a real struggle and you're on the ground and you're on your side and someone then has the neck restraint, you're not dying from asphyxiation through your windpipe being cut off. Actually, the opposite, you die of acidosis, because you need to pant and hyperventilate and get all the carbon monoxide out from the struggle you just had. If you can't do that and you have some kind of heart condition, which this guy might have had, you'll die. And even regular heart resuscitation cannot bring these people back once that happens. So that's what I think are the facts of the case. Doesn't remove anything. We still got a dead guy. We still got an evil-looking shit who may not have known what he was doing. He may have thought this, he's just complaining. So let's just look at it from all sides for a moment, and not necessarily the Maxine Waters way of, I'm going to go get me one. And I'm sure there's people of all colors who have that feeling. But that's clearly not all cops. So when you say ACAB, all cops are bastards, man, I wish they would just take a few days off so you could see. Doesn't make it any better. But those are facts that no one will tell you. And it's difficult because I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to be told I'm apologizing, I'm a dickhead, but cops also are in this, and they have information.
I should mention, talking about not addressing any of this, the major news media has not even mentioned it. I didn't even think about it myself, probably for that reason, since I monitor them, until you mentioned the Somalians. I've not even, no one's even mentioned Somalians, except on this show.
Well, again, I'm watching this, and I'm like, I know what these guys look like. These are Somalis or Somalians. Is it Somalis or Somalians?
I think it could be either.
But
Somali is
but it really hit home for me when Mo texted me and said, "Oh, now you know how it sucks to be quote unquote called black." It's because you fit in whoops, there you go. There's the Democrats with the left agenda. We're going to take this all. Trump is a very fine people hater. Wait. How can we screw Amy Klobuchar with? Yeah, I got an idea. Oh yeah, it's her state. She screwed up. It's just horrible. Everybody jumps in and takes advantage of it. Crazy. So,
well, we could listen to a couple of generalized.
Yeah, I'd love to. I just wanted to get that stuff out.
Let's go. Well, a couple of things. First of all, just as asides, that was kind of interesting was the arrest of the CNN crew. During the riots.
Yeah.
And then
let's make the story about me. They kept bringing the guy on. Well, it was really weird. I got arrested. They kept it was their
of course
main story.
The irony of course is CNN's building getting trashed in Atlanta.
That was a nice touch. That was a nice touch.
It was quite funny, especially the Mexican flags and graffiti all over.
I mean, and I'm trying to think, that must have been pure Antifa, anti-globalist sentiment, don't you think? Either that.
I haven't given the CNN thing much thought, but as anti-globalist, because it is a symbol.
Yeah,
it's possible.
And that's what a lot of these Antifa guys are. By the way, where is all that cool stuff we had in Seattle back with the we had the anti-globalist days? Where's the giant
the WTO protest?
Yeah. Where's the machine that piercing sound and hurts your ears, and where's the one that fries people? How come? Where's all that stuff? All that groovy tech we've been promised?
Or the goo.
The goo? I don't know. What was the goo about?
Oh, I saw a report on all these special police techniques. They have like a giant net they shoot from a cannon and it just captures everybody.
Where is all this stuff?
And there's a goo. This goo, you shoot this goo out there and everybody gets sticky and they can't walk and they get stuck to each other and they can't move and they're all stuck there. Yeah, they don't use any of that stuff.
I'm going to give you the whole load today.
Yeah, you goo.
Anyway. So I got a couple of mild clips. Zucker, this is the Zucker clip. This is apparently as soon as their crew was arrested, Zucker was on the phone with the Michigan governor threatening him, I believe. But let's see just to hear this report.
CNN President Jeff Zucker just spoke with the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, who says he deeply apologizes for what happens. He is working to have the CNN team released immediately. It was totally unacceptable and totally inadvertent what happened. They clearly had the right to be there, the CNN team. We want the media there to cover this. It is never acceptable for this to happen. The governor accepts full responsibility. Again, a conversation between CNN President Jeff Zucker and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, apologizing for what's happened to the CNN team.
So I have the entire, I'm not going to, I don't want to play this, it's too long, but this is the Minnesota governor's complete apology to Zucker. And within this apology, it's all performatives. He never says, I'm sorry. And I'm almost of the opinion that this was planned just as a distraction, because the CNN team was told where to stand by the same troopers that arrested him. And that came out in the discussion afterwards. And so something was fishy about this. And this has never happened before.
Well, before we play that, what I was trying to do, and it's hard, is every shot you see of people, try to analyze who am I seeing and what are they doing. So I've seen a lot of undercover cops who I think are part of the riot control process, and they work in real quick fashion with the uniformed officers. Half of the people there are there to promote their Instagram channel, their YouTube. I mean, half the people are there to take video of the event. I mean, it's crazy. You go up, you stand, and white girls standing in the front line right across from the cops, videoing it, narrating how these horrible, ugly guys and how they're standing up to them. Half of those people were sending it to me on email, which is kind of the sad part. Now you know why I cut my email down to 10 megabytes. Everybody send, oh, look at this. I got pictures of this and pictures of that, and I got video, and you're all, I'm sorry, you're sick. You're sick. So you got what? You got it on video. So what are you going to do with it? Save it? Show the grandkids?
I don't know what you're going to, this is the useless videos. But I just want you to hear a little bit of the governor, because the way he speaks in performatives, he says, I take full responsibility, and I do, but he never says I'm sorry. We're not going to play the whole 243, which is the entire apology, supposed apology. But there's something very fishy about this. Play.
I also want to address an issue, and this one is on me, and I will own it. Earlier this morning, when this mission was carried out under my direction to resecure the 3rd Precinct, to do so in a manner which I am proud of how it was executed by this team, no injuries and no loss of life, a reestablishment to put the fires out for those businesses. A CNN reporter a crew was arrested by the State Patrol. A few minutes after hearing that, I was on a call with CNN President Jeff Zucker, who demanded to know what happened. I take full responsibility. There is absolutely no reason something like this should happen. Calls were made immediately. This is a very public apology to that team. It should not happen. And I want to be clear for the...
And maybe that's why I said that, just to jump in. It was hard to see who was who. And who was with the press? Everybody had a press thing, a badge dangling, a camera on their shoulder. Everyone had booms and mics and all kinds of stuff, backpacks. I don't think it was that apparent every single time. I know what CNN is insinuating, obviously. They're just too chicken shit to come out and say it. Hey, the guy was black. Maybe that's why it happened. But they're just too chicken to say it.
Actually, that could have been pulled. That card could have been pulled, and they didn't have the guts to do it.
Those of you listening.
Sorry.
Just go on. Yeah.
I think our Minnesota's reporters know this. I am a teacher by trade, and I have spent my time as governor highlighting the need to be as transparent as possible and have the press here. I failed you last night in that. And it does not escape me that we are here on the catalyst that lit this spark by what happened with a police detainment of George Floyd, and the idea that a reporter would have been taken while another police action was in play is inexcusable. So to CNN, to the CNN team.
Holy crap. I mean, why don't you just blow Zucker? Who cares? Isn't that what you call fog of war? Why is he focusing so much attention on this? You're right. It's odd, but maybe for different reasons.
There's something rigged about it.
To the journalists here, this is about having a plan, and that's what these folks are going to talk about. This is about having an aggressive approach to understanding what the community needs, to not coming in heavy-handed with them, but to create space where the story can be told. In a situation like this, even if you're clearing an area, we have got to ensure that there is a safe spot for journalism to tell the story. The issue here is trust. The community that's down there that's terrorized by this, if they see a reporter being arrested, their assumption is because something's going to happen that they don't want to be seen. And so that is unacceptable. We will continue to strive to make sure that accessibility is maintained. That not only that,
grandstanding.
It's too much about that.
He's grandstanding. Yeah. And then what he just did, now that I think about it, because I've listened to this thing a few times, I'm wondering why he's going on about it. I'm sorry that happened. He could have dropped it.
No, it's okay.
So he's grandstanding to point out that we're this great transparent operation. Us at the governor's level. This is just a stump speech. This is grandstand. This is politics. It's unbelievable.
Here's what I'd like, though.
That was a rigged arrest. That arrest was done by him.
It looked rigged
for this purpose.
It looked rigged. It really looked rigged. I did not understand it either. But maybe the journalist has a book in the works and he'll come out and he's got a story. So I don't know.
And then that maybe the reason they don't bring out the black part because they didn't want to complicate matters.
So I'd like to know. Because from what I garner, and I've been to Minneapolis, I've lived in Los Angeles, I know New York, I'm seeing the stores and establishments that are being wrecked. I think it's incorrect for people to say, why are they burning down their own neighborhood? I don't think that's the case. To me, and all the reports I'm getting, this is middle class, upper middle class, rich stores. Well, Beverly Hills.
Well, Beverly Hills for sure. I mean, anything outside of Minneapolis, but that area,
John,
Minneapolis,
Union Square, New York. That's not a poor neighborhood. Union Square is beautiful.
We're not talking. I thought we're talking about Minneapolis.
No, but Minneapolis the same. I do not believe that was only poor.
It was pretty.
I don't know the areas, but I'm just saying.
I don't know that area, but I saw lots of footage of the different liquor stores and check cashing, which is always a giveaway. Okay. And Cub Foods is not a high-end grocer.
All right. But in general, I see a lot more towards...
Oh, no. Every place else, because it's all locked down, well, you go after Tiffany.
And I'm just going to say it one last time. These are underinformed, over-socialized children who have guilt guilt because they're well-to-do, their parents are providing for them, they really don't have a lot to worry about in life, but the over-socialization through school and media, and please go and read Ted Kaczynski's Industrial Society in Its Future, because this is exactly what he predicted. It's exactly what you get when you do this. And there's no downside. This is all for kicks, for fun. They've been practicing for 3 months on their video games. Yeah, let's get my backpack on. I saw, meet at the police station, wear black.
Austin had an incident.
Yeah, we had a car burning on 8th Street. Absolutely. Same thing. Same kids, all from Terrytown and Westlake. Give me a break, you punks. Seriously, that is what happened here. Was well organized. Yeah, they had the plan ready to go. They just needed to activate. Didn't take much. Yeah.
So let's listen to a couple of clips I collected.
All right, please.
Mainly let's hear a mainstream rundown on the New York riots.
Okay, and I think it's important for people to hear this from us. Certainly, if you don't live in America, because if you look at the TV, the teletube, it looks like we're going to crash and burn. We're all going to die over here. It's really not quite that bad yet.
To interrupt myself again, these clips I'm never going to get to. What you just said is kind of important, because I do have later in the show the Brooks and Shields guys going back and forth, with Brooks again in tears and saying this is the worst week for America. Yeah. There's 10,000 dead and just
100,000, not 10,000.
100,000 dead. It happened all last week.
Yeah,
and then he's just about in tears, and he's saying it's just the worst thing for America, and everyone's going on and some other shows about how this is terrible. It's like you can't.
But did he end with Trump?
I'm looking outside. I spent the last week. I went to the store. I bought some stuff. We had a family dinner. I look out here now. I don't see San Francisco's not burning to the ground. There's been some incidents here and there, and it just looks like normal to me. I'm not seeing all this gloom and doom that Brooks, in particular, is witnessing. I mean, maybe.
But you want to do Brooks now? Now I feel you have to do Brooks.
No, see, again, I'm never going to get these out of the way.
Yeah, you will.
Let's go to New York riots.
In New York, protests turned violent last night as police clashed with crowds for a second day in a row. Some protesters in Brooklyn threw water bottles and fireworks at police, and videos captured a police van on fire. Some people were hospitalized and busloads were arrested. Officers used eye-irritating chemicals, moving vehicles, and batons to disperse the crowds. A widely circulated video showed one officer violently pushing a woman to the ground. When asked about that video in a press conference this morning, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio called violent police reactions on peaceful protesters unacceptable and announced an independent investigation to determine who is responsible. But he also condemned protesters who subjected the police to what he called horrible and violent things that would not stand.
Because they are working men and women, and any protester that tries to take the humanity away from a police officer and devalue them just because they are a public servant is no better than the racists who devalue.
Holy crap, this is the guy who allows the public to throw water at the cops in New York and throw shit at them and yell at them in their face.
Yeah.
That's the same guy? Jeez.
Yeah.
People of color, and particularly black men in America.
Also last night in Washington, D.C., police attempted to dispel hundreds of protesters chanting curses at President Trump in front of the White House. The U.S. Secret Service enacted a partial lockdown of the building. In a tweet this morning, the president said that had protesters breached the fence, they would have been greeted with the most vicious dogs and most ominous weapons I have ever seen, adding many Secret Service agents just waiting for action. We put the young ones on the front line, sir. They love it. And good practice.
And see, this is why Trump can't say anything. Lots of people, why doesn't he come out? This is his moment. Do a JFK, MLK speech. Why not this? Why not? Because he can't. When he says, hey, don't mess with the fence here, the dogs are going to meet with you. First of all, he's talking to these globalist pricks. He's not talking to black people who are angry about the situation. He's talking to the rioters, people who are out of their minds and there for other reasons. But that immediately gets turned into not only is he saying that about all black people? But it's also, rabid dogs. We all remember that from the slave days, don't we?
From Birmingham.
I saw one after another, these reports. That's our trouble. The media is our trouble.
The media is the trouble. It's trouble.
Oh, man, it's so bad.
So let's go to, let's skip. I got a couple more mainstream reports, but just as an entremont, let's listen to Van. Did you hear Van Jones go off?
This, yeah. Well, but this was more about the Karen in Central Park, correct?
I don't know. It was pretty generalized.
No, well, did you see the video? Because
he mentioned the Karen for sure, but this was pretty generalized. Play this clip.
People are now fed up. People are telling me they're tired of hashtags. They're tired of Van Jones saying we can have a bipartisan solution. They're tired of people like me. They're tired of people saying over and over again that, we're just basically one bill away or one election away from some progress. It's not the racist white person who's in the Ku Klux Klan that we have to worry about. It's the white liberal Hillary Clinton supporter walking her dog in Central Park who would tell you right now, people like that, oh, I don't see race. Race is no big deal to me. I see us all as the same. I give to charities. But the minute she sees a black man who she does not respect or who she has a slight thought against, she weaponized race like she had been trained by the Aryan Nation. A Klans member could not have been better trained to pick up the police and pick up her phone and tell the police it's a black man, African-American man, come get him. So even the most liberal, well-intentioned white person has a virus in his or her brain that can be activated at an instant.
This is a seminal clip, particularly what he says at the end. He says this is a virus. Wow. I'm naming this virus Karen-19. But let's talk about this very situation. Of course, we all saw the video. And what is interesting is if I ask, and I've asked several people, could you please describe a Karen? They all say the first thing's very similar. Bob cut hair, very uptight, is the one who's always calling customer service, is always pissed off, is always
asking for the manager.
And depending on who you ask, Karen will be a Republican or Karen will be a Democrat. That is the most interesting thing about the Karen phenomenon. In fact, Karens may bring us together. But it is a common hatred of, and it's really the hypocritical is really what it is, hypocritical. But it's true. You can ask, because I did the test, said, tell me what a Karen is. And sometimes it comes out, well, it's a Republican woman, this is this. Sometimes you wait until the end, you say, is the Karen you describe Republican or Democrat? And the bias is right there. So it's really a white dress, silver dress type of thing. It's very interesting. But in this particular case, and I think that these two have actually now come together, this guy and this woman, and say, well, we kind of both at fault. Because now when I saw this happen, and I've lived in Manhattan, I've been in Central Park early in the morning. First of all, you look at it, you think, well, you're in Manhattan, you live in Manhattan, you're walking your dog in Central Park, you look pretty put together. I'm going to just guess and say you're a Democrat. Just guessing. But no matter who it is, no matter what woman, no matter what guy, when someone approaches you and says, hey, and it's 8 a.m. in Central Park, there's not a lot of people around, Central Park, and some guy comes up and says, hey, you got to walk your dog over there, and you say, leave me alone or whatever, and he says, well, you're not going to like what I do next, pulls out his phone and starts filming you. Any woman will be afraid by any person doing that, regardless of color.
This guy was a Karen too.
Of course he was. We need a male Karen. We need a male Karen.
Karen versus Karen.
But do you understand that women who have that happen to them in that situation could be freaked out by a dude I mean, it's, rapes happen in parks. All kinds of crazy shit happens. No one's taking that into account. Van Jones isn't either. So for her to then, here's an African-American man. He's frightening me. It was a frightening situation for her.
Yeah, apparently, where she wouldn't have gotten all freaked out.
I know, but people
we'll do more on Karens in some further shows where we don't have all these riots to discuss. There's a lot of action on the YouTubes about
I'm just saying that we cannot live, and I won't do it in this show, we cannot live on just the surface evidence of the video that goes viral. How many times do we know that if you watch a little bit longer or get a little bit before that, it's a little different. We don't know. Our brains are filling in. We're filling in all of these pieces. So you have a whole backstory before you even see that video. You have a whole backstory, thanks to Maxine Waters, before you even think about, was there a struggle with the cop and the guy? What really happened there? That's the problem. Our reality is being shaped. So
2 more easy clips summarizing things. This is the quick riot Saturday. This is from Saturday. The Saturday summary on PBS.
States and cities across the country are preparing for more demonstrations, calling up National Guard units and considering the federal government's offer to deploy active duty troops after violent protests last night. Demonstrations spread after the death of George Floyd, a black man who died after a white Minneapolis police officer kneeled on his neck for 9 minutes. That officer is now charged with third-degree murder. Many legal and peaceful gatherings continue today to grieve and demand justice for Floyd and for others. But last night, demonstrators set fires, smashed windows, and attacked police officers in many places. And officials say in some cases, outsiders are behind the violence.
Okay, well, at least they got a little bit of it.
Yeah, that's not too bad. They belabored it with some, a package.
Whatever.
So.
Of course, throw in a package.
You gotta have a package.
Just on that Van Jones thing again, the virus, that's going to be very interesting how that meme plays out. You got the virus, man. You got the hate virus. You got the Karen 19. You got the Karen 19, brother. That's what you got.
And from there, I go to Biden, but you may have more.
Let me just see. We don't need to do... well, shoot, I'm sorry. I had this planned for a lead-in, but since we already discussed it, it's kind of wine after the meal. This is Bill Maher from Friday with signs you're a Karen. Let's see where he stands on this.
These are the signs you might want to look out for that you might be a Karen. For example, in high school, you were voted most likely to make a citizen's arrest. Yeah, that would be one. You park in the handicap spot because of a gluten intolerance. Gluten? You threaten to call immigration during a pedicure. When you're at the baseball stadium and your team loses, you demand to speak to the manager. When Samuel Jackson says, "What's in your wallet?" you pepper spray the TV. That's a definite sign. You go on a Facebook rant about how the Asian section in the supermarket keeps getting bigger. You repeatedly cancel Ubers until you get a driver with a normal name. And when a friend says, "This is my fiance," you say, "This is America, damn it, speak English."
There you go. So do you see what he's doing there?
That is the worst material. There's better stuff on YouTube than that.
Agreed.
It's not funny anymore.
But do you see he took it from very common things of Karen commonalities
to
racism right away. Yeah. Go to racism. So a Karen is a racist. Karen 19 will be the racist virus. And I predict a vaccine. I'd say before November.
Well, it takes 18 months.
Oh, well.
So we go to PBS and we have Joe Biden comes on, and I figured this will be pretty good. Yeah. Meanwhile, of course, I don't see anyone fact-checking Joe because he's got so many facts wrong. Everything he says is off the wall. Now, I want you to listen to the first. This is Biden 1. It's spelled out 1. It doesn't work with the other ones. This is Joe being asked about some of the riots. And I want you to combine the two concepts. His description of the what he calls it's just George Floyd. He doesn't remember his last name, so he calls him George as if he knows
as
the
if
guy.
He's hanging out with him.
So
I gave George a 20 just the other day.
So first of all, he says this is a horrible incident, and it's vivid. It's vivid. It's vivid. In other words, it's burned into your brain. Listen to his description.
But what happens is we have to, I think, Judy, this is one of those moments, at least I hope it is, that is so vivid, so crass, so cruel, that so many people have seen that it awakens them in a way to say, enough is enough. Our children saw this. Think of the millions of children who were sitting by the television watching that cop smash the head of George against the curb and hold his knee there for 9 minutes.
Oh, brother, so vivid he didn't even see it, apparently, because that's not what happened.
No, he's in the middle of the street. He didn't smash his head against the curb. What does Judy say about this complete foul up in the description? Nothing.
Ugh. Of course
well,
not.
Here's another. See if you can catch this error in Biden, too. This is another fact check.
Well, terrible things still happen. But the frequency with which they happen.
Hey, did they forget to mic the geese? What's going on? Is I slacking over there?
Yeah, they didn't get the geese in line.
And an entire generation that's coming along, the young millennials all the way down through Generation Z, they're the least prejudiced, the least judgmental, the people who are most open to...
Wait a minute. I'm going weak at the knees. What? The least what? The least judgmental? The least what? What? Joe, say it again.
Young millennials all the way down through Generation Z, they're the least prejudiced, the least judgmental, the people who are most open to change. And I just think that what's happened is that coupled with the pandemic and watching how the institutional impediments that exist both in racism and the way in which we deal with healthcare and a whole range of things, I think the American public's ready for us to do more. I think you're going to see a lot more pressure on police departments in terms of training. I think you're going to see many more people held accountable. Look how rapidly the police department acted here, and the chief and the mayor, and firing all three of them, and now a murder charge being brought.
Unbelievable. He really doesn't know his potential voting public, does he?
I'm not talking about that. It's the gaffe. It's the error. It's not his judgment. He says he fired all three of them.
Oh, yeah. Didn't they?
They fired all four of them.
Oh, okay. Yes, all four of them. All right.
Hey, fact check.
Yeah,
It'd be on the Washington Post if Trump had said three.
Hold on.
Fact check false.
Okay, we got it. It's registered. We got it.
Okay, so let's go down.
I mean, you're really doing
it. You were just so thrilled with this millennial description.
I'm sorry. It was
you missed the gaffe.
It wasn't really a gaffe. It was.
It's a fact check false.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to Biden. Now he's talking about the city being burnt down. There's nothing in here. There may be some fact check false in here, but I don't think so.
When I was a kid, I came back from law school. My city had been burned down, 20% of it burned to the ground.
What city is he talking about?
His city had been, I think, was this World War II? Maybe it was Berlin? I don't know. I don't know.
Old.
Oh, no. What do you mean he's not that old?
His city has been burnt down.
When I was a kid, I came back from law school. My city had been burned down, 20% of it burned to the ground, occupied by the National Guard, and told that we were never going to be able to get any better. Things were just never going to change. Well, they changed considerably. The city, African Americans, and all others are integrated together now. Not totally, but there's a totally different circumstance than it was. So things have gotten, on a macro sense, better, but you still, if you're a black man or a black woman or a child, you're still going to worry when you walk out of the house whether or not you're going to be the victim of what George was.
Okay, hold on. First of all, Joe Biden, I think, was very fortunate, call it a fortunate happenstance, that this all took place at the moment we were at peak you ain't blackness. It's interesting to point out that the you ain't black has just been wiped from the radar. That's not being discussed anymore. It's done. It's gone.
Yeah, it'll come back in advertisements.
It will. It will.
Now, the last clip I've got here is Biden, clip 4. This is only reason I have this is because he doubles down on the 3 arrested, the 3 cops that were fired instead of 4.
Oh, it's a twofer. I like it, Dvorak.
The difference between this and what happened in Missouri when we were there is the police chief immediately and the mayor immediately fired the 3 police officers, then brought charges. So, bad things are going to happen, and it's really frightening. There's no time for incendiary tweets. There's no time to encourage violence. This is a national crisis, and we need real leadership. We need leadership to bring everyone to the table so we can root out these systematic racist activities that go on.
I agree we need leadership, and Minneapolis should look at some new leadership.
No, you're going to have to.
Yeah.
They won't even show up for meetings
just
now.
Just to prove my point, I just got a text from Taxi Eric. You know Taxi Eric in
Taxi Eric, yeah,
in
he
Amsterdam.
Almost got us killed.
He almost killed you. I know, Taxi Eric. So Taxi Eric is kind of he's like a guy you can take to a rumble, right?
Yeah, tough guy.
Yeah. He says, "Oh my God, is everything on fire and being looted there? Hope you guys are okay."
Yeah.
I mean, that's the message. That's what people get in other countries. We look like we're burning down. Burning down, I tell you.
Yeah, well, I told you it's going to become international news.
You were right. I was very wrong about that. I have one clip as it pertains to Biden. So we already have Klobuchar out. This was a great way to take her off the table.
Yeah, it's a great way. Maybe they're just out to get my essay.
Exactly. It's like,
we have a cosmic weenie. We need to counteract, activate.
That's exactly what happened. Like, there's a cosmic weenie report. We got to do something about it. Burn it down. Pull it. So we have what's her face off the list, Klobuchar. The other what's her face who was still on the list was Kamala Harris. Kamala is not going to be chosen. She's not even in the same group. She's not in the same city as the group that makes these decisions because for some reason she has a whole different narrative for what's happening with the riots and the protest. And she had to be removed from the equation because she's really embarrassing the mission.
Russia interfered in the election of the president of the United States in 2016. That's a fact. Do you know what they did in terms of deciding what was the weakness in America that they could actually take advantage of? Was America's Achilles heel, which is race. And so they targeted black voters. They targeted a misinformation campaign, taking advantage of the legitimate distrust that folks have in their government and its systems.
Don, she's blaming it on Russian bots, Don. Bring her back to Trump or get her out, Don.
This is real, and we have to be honest about it. We have to be honest about it.
I hate to cut you off because I'm enjoying having this conversation with you. And I urge all Americans to have this conversation, and we need to continue it. Of course, we'll have you back. Senator Kamala Harris, Democratic Senator of California. Please be safe, Senator.
Yeah, good job, Don. She had the wrong script.
Give me a break. Russian bots. Yeah, that's what did it.
Brother.
So she
can't even keep up.
She is not in the running. She's not even on the list. She's not even on the email list for these people.
Well, I mean, the globalists would want Stacey Abrams.
Oh yeah. That's what the globalists want, but I don't.
She's a counsel on foreign relations. She's got all the earmarks of a globalist. She's perfect.
Yeah.
She doesn't have any chops whatsoever. She's got no background. It looks like a setup is a bad pick. But what else are you going to do? I mean, if your initial theory is correct, that a lot of this has to do with taking one person out of the race, which would be Amy, you got to have somebody to put in there, and there's nobody else except the other one that's considered by most people for some reason is Gretchen Whitmer. She's number 2 on the list.
Yeah, she's still on the list. Yeah, she has she's got that S&M look Joe's into.
She does have a little bit of a dominatrix look.
Mm-hmm.
She's younger. She's good looking. She has she's a lousy governor.
Yeah, right. Perfect.
So, yeah, fit right in. Got a lousy governor and a lousy senator. What could go wrong?
The less competent, the better, I'd say. That's what we want for this country. Anything but Trump, please. Obama and Valerie Jarrett, apparently are pushing Lizzie Warren now.
Well, they can't.
I know.
Let's go back over the facts. The bankers had come out and said to the Democratic National Committee, and I followed their tweets and how they handle things, and you can kind of figure out what's going on. There's a few key players. You just watch what they say goes.
Mm-hmm.
And the bankers have told the Democratic National Committee, and this is also Bloomberg, and he only ran just to bust up the vote a little bit in the middle to see if he could, in case things are going to go bad and Bernie or Warren were going to win. They said, we're not giving you any money for the party if you put Warren or Bernie on the ticket.
There's the conundrum.
And they said, and what it means to the Democrats,
and they went,
they'd just as soon lose the presidency. That they don't want, they can lose the presidency, but they can't lose that money because that money doesn't go to the presidential candidates. They get their own money. Yeah. That money goes right to the down ballot. You can keep you will not keep the House of Representatives without the bankers. So they're taking no chances. Elizabeth Warren, you can push her all you want, and you're gonna break the party. The party's gonna lose everything if they put Warren on the tickets. So it has to be Whitmer.
What happened to your gal? Why is she out? The original.
Amy.
No, the original gal before the Cosmic.
The original is Grisham.
Grisham, yeah.
Lujan or Lujan. She is the governor of New Mexico. Yeah, she has the most fire. She is probably the most talented politician.
Yeah.
I know they must have vetted her. And she's a Spanish American or a Mexican American, a Latino. No, she's a Latino and a Native American. She's got Native American in her real, not Pocahontas blood, but the real stuff. And she's a woman, and she may overshadow Joe. I don't know why she hasn't been brought back to the floor.
Well, how about this? They don't want Joe to win. How about that? Let's just keep the House together, see if we can grab some seats in the Senate, and then screw it. We'll hope that he dies. We'll hope that he gets COVID.
They figure if they could take the House back, keep the House, not take it back. They got it. They might even get the Senate, but that's harder to do. But let's say they get the House and keep the House, then they can impeach Trump again. And they can impeach him 2 more times. Yeah. They got 2 rounds.
Oh, yeah. They got a COVID impeachment. And what else can we impeach him for?
Well, something about these riots. It's his fault.
That would be my strategy. I'd be like, look, why waste because once you waste a good person on the election, it gets hard to run him again. See Hillary. And once you don't make it through.
Well, there's been plenty of examples, including Franklin Roosevelt. And there's probably 2 or 3 others, I think.
Yeah, but this is a different era. You can't compare that.
Ran as vice president, became president later.
Yeah, possible.
Well, anyway, it's not going to. Biden is a lost cause. Yeah. Do you want to listen to a little Shields and Brooks?
Yeah, I do. And then what we'll do is after we thank our execs and associate execs. Then I got some fun COVID stuff to go through.
Yeah, we do need to catch. Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Still in play.
We do need to catch up. New information, new shit has come to light, man.
Okay, let's go. Now we got Shields and Brooks came on, and they're going to do some reflective discussions on the week, and this, we're all going to die, and Brooks has got this sorry look on his face. He's like beleaguered.
Why don't they just call this? Why don't they just call it?
Dumb and Dumber.
Really? It's really like just Boomers and Amy. That's all it is. It's Boomers and Amy. That's what the show is.
Judy, actually.
We're calling Judy Amy.
So we have these 2 guys, and they come on, and Brooks is like. It's funny because Shields, who's 80-something, he's in his 80s, and he seems to be lighthearted about the whole thing. He doesn't take it as seriously as Brooks really thinks this is the end of the world, and he's constantly in tears. He thinks the Republic is doomed, and I don't know what's going to happen, and he's in his hold up in Connecticut, I believe. And so it starts off this way. This is where it begins with some reflections.
I was disappointed in it, to be honest. I think collectively we've had one of the worst weeks of our lives. 100,000 dead, and economy still in free fall.
Wow, all in 1 week. Shit, what's happening?
Weird conspiracy theories in the beginning of the week against Joe Scarborough, a racist incident in Central Park, murder in Minneapolis. I want to see more outrage. I want to see outrage at a president who's grown more contemptible
there it is.
By the day, including his tweets about what happened in Minneapolis. I want to see somebody addressing the underlying issues that lead to the inequalities in places like Minneapolis and all around the country. I just want to see a more aggressive Democratic challenger who's really got broad arguments for collective change, structural change. I want to see a candidate who is as angry as he ought to be honest. And I understand he's trying to be moderate and trying not to whip up flames, and that's all to the good. He wants to win over swing voters. But this has been an exhausting and a terrible week. And I want to see a leader who can reflect what we've been living through.
Oh, brother. Does this show have ratings?
So again, I get up this morning, look out, there's a few cops going up and down the freeway. I don't know where they're going. But everything looks really pretty normal to me. There's a horse track around here. There's, the Zephyr, the California Zephyr went by with 7 cars. We mentioned that before the show.
Oh yes, it was. That's very important. It's before we started.
Up a car.
Yeah, it's 7-car economy. That is typically good news.
Well, it's better. I mean, this should be an 8 to 9 car train, generally speaking.
But I'm amazed we're even in a 7-hour economy at this point. A 7-car economy. That's fascinating. It's fantastic.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I'm not. So what? I don't know what this guy where he's living. And they're throwing rocks at him. I don't get it. Are they shooting at him because he's his house? I mean, he just sounds miserable. Meanwhile, so Judy finally lets him finish and then cuts it over to Shields. And Shields plays, he's a little more politically savvy, and he has to kind of bring, Brooks and Shields are both big Biden fans, kind of. So he brings it back down to reality that Biden's a good man.
Mark, what are you hearing? Is someone too moderate?
I agree with David. It's been a terrible week, a horrible week. But Judy, this is a presidential year. It's a political decision. American voters have a rather strange quirk which repeats itself. And that is when a president disappoints them, they go looking, quite frankly, for what was missing in that president in his successor. And I think it's fair to say, as the only president in history who has never obtained a positive job rating from his fellow citizens, that Donald Trump has disappointed a lot of people. And I think what they're looking for is maturity. I think they're looking for restraint. I think they're looking for somebody who is a uniter and not a divider. I think that's what the job description that Joe Biden has to fill in 2020. What he had to say on the NewsHour tonight was thoughtful, was restrained, was mature. It was not stirring, as David was looking for. But I really think that the American people and the American voters are looking for that maturity and that judgment in 2020.
Yes, I have a feeling that half the American viewers are still trying to figure out what the word mature means. But okay. 2.7 million people watched this. Mature.
Yeah, and he was he was happy about Joe's gaffes at 3 cops.
Yeah.
And the cop hit the guy against the curb, hit his head, bashing his head against the curb. Yeah, that's great. So we go back, and this goes back and forth. It continues, and then we got the clip 3 where Brooks is really pretty much just about tearful here.
David, what about that?
Yeah, it's a fair point. We want maturity. We don't want somebody who's going to go off.
Hello. He said it wrong. It's maturity, not maturity. Maturity. Say it right. Maturity.
David, what about that?
Yeah, it's a fair point. We want maturity. We don't want somebody who's going to go off crazy, but you can err on the other side. And I do think what this pandemic has done has exposed, as everyone keeps saying, the structural ravines in our society. And I do think there is a hunger for change and change of some significant nature. I'm conservative. I'm not for revolution, but I am for a comprehensive agenda so that when the George Floyds of the world grow up in the Ward 3 of Houston, where he'd been living for so many years, and they're going to church every week, and they're serving in their communities, spreading their faith. And then
wait a minute. Is this about George Floyd?
That's what he said.
So this is the George Floyd bio, which I've not received a bio, but apparently they have. Let's listen again.
So that when the George Floyds of the world grow up in the Ward 3 of Houston, where he'd been living for so many years, and they're going to church every week, and they're serving in their communities, spreading their faith, and then they go off to Minneapolis, they're not going off to a world of danger, and they're not living in Ward 3 Houston in a world of danger. And I just think, changing the structure of those neighborhoods has to be on the agenda here, not just police training. And I'm sure Biden believes this. But I just think that it's got to be articulated.
Yeah. Why don't you go read your buddy Joe Biden's Lift All Voices Black Agenda and come back to me and see if anything you said is on it. No. What's on there is, I'm going to do a study to see if reparations would work. Please.
Yeah. Study. Which is what the Democrats always do. They always do studies.
Yeah.
So here's this is a bonus clip. This is Brooks talking about the Twitter versus Trump battle that's going on and how he needs, you'll hear it.
Twitter instituted a new policy where they flagged some of the president's tweets, including one that had to do with Minneapolis. Are we sliding down a slippery slope here? I mean, can we come back from a place where we are?
Stop. Yes. Clip is stopped.
You're going to be listening to a journalist, and this is pretty common, by the way. This is like a little diatribe of mine. A journalist who doesn't want to hear from the president. This is a journalist that don't want to look at WikiLeaks.
It's illegal.
These are journalists who don't want. You have a cache of information that was, I don't know, stolen, but you're a journalist. You actually have the rights to look through it, and you look through it. You don't want to do that. The CIA has a special report. There's a room. You can go read it. No, I don't want to see anything. I don't want to look at WikiLeaks. I don't want to hear from Trump. I don't want to hear what he has to say. And I'm a journalist. I'm in the business of news, giving the public news, but I don't want to know anything.
I'm a Dr.
How does this
Jim.
make any sense to you?
It doesn't. It makes zero sense, but they're so triggered. And I just hope that people sit at home and hear that and go, wait a minute, that doesn't sound like your job. But we'll listen again in full context.
Twitter instituted a new policy where they flagged some of the president's tweets, including one that had to do with Minneapolis. Are we sliding down a slippery slope here? I mean, can we come back from a place where we are now, where pretty much anything goes, not just in social media, but in public discourse?
We're at the bottom of some big mountain in the Alps. And it follows a week. I happened to be on Morning Joe on Tuesday when Mika Brzezinski read out this dignified letter from the widow.
What did he say?
He's on Morning Joe, this guy.
Mountain in the Alps. And it follows a week. I happened to be on Morning Joe on Tuesday when Mika Brzezinski read out this dignified letter from the widower of the young woman who died in Scarborough's office 19 years ago. And it was a man who was just trying to defend the dignity of his family against the rumor mongering from the president. And I thought that was going to be the bottom of the week. And that was only the beginning of the week. And so what Twitter did to the tweet to mark it, but not eliminate it, to me is the right thing. I think people need to see what Donald Trump is doing. And I remain resolved that this country can be united against racism. But marking it, because we should have standards. An internet platform has the ability to regulate what's on the platform. And without having liability for it, and that's what the law says. And so I think Twitter basically adopted the right policy, and the assault on Twitter, which the Trump administration seems to be trying to do, is an attempt to deny every platform's right to have standards of decency.
Yeah, I think Brooks should go read Section 230, which we've done extensively for how long, John? At least 8 years, maybe we've been...
That's probably right since day one.
Probably day one.
Well, not day one, but day two.
I want to stick with that for a moment. Here is a piece of the president announcing his executive order regarding Section 230. And this is really the study part. So it's out of this will come regulations. I believe it's within 30 days. There's one addition that wasn't in the draft, because we talked about the draft executive order on Thursday, and then Thursday after the show, of course, on a show day, it came out, the official version, with a couple of differences. Well, let's listen to the president first announce it, and then I'll tell you the differences and what's going on.
Currently, social media giants like Twitter receive an unprecedented liability shield based on the theory that they're a neutral platform, which they're not an editor with a viewpoint. My executive order calls for new regulations under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act to make it that social media companies that engage in censoring or any political conduct will not be able to keep their liability shield. That's a big deal.
And he is absolutely correct. The only reason, if you want to have the no liability, and I believe this was a very good regulation to get the internet going. It's still highly necessary. I can't imagine if we could get sued for what someone said on No Agenda Social. I mean, we just wouldn't be able to have it, because you know that would happen. You got the angry giants or the sleeping giants and the douchebags of the world that are out there. Cancel culture would be much more real. However, you cannot just be deleting stuff outside of the lewd, lascivious, etc. So political speech, and in this case, blocking the president's tweet with a disclaimer, which I think was about mail-in voting, which was kind of interesting.
No, there was two of them. The mail-in voting was the first one. There were two tweets he did. The second one wasn't, but they didn't take the tweet down. The second go-around was his clip about the riots.
Yes,
and they actually eliminated the tweet. You had to click a view button to see the tweet.
Yeah. And it was due to their so-called community rules that he was glorifying violence, which if you look at the history of
if you look at that tweet, he wasn't glorifying violence.
Well, no, he's not. But also there's historical context to when they loot, they shoot. If you want to see it, go to the show notes, nashownotes.com. This is not something brand new. It has historical context. But it doesn't matter. It certainly wasn't And besides, they cannot censor for glorifying violence. That is, at least not in this case. That was not a glorification of violence. And that's why they immediately, and I'll tell you in a moment, this executive order came out. Back to his announcement, because there's more in here.
They have a shield. They can do what they want. They have a shield. They're not going to have that shield. My executive order further instructs the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, to prohibit social media companies from engaging in any deceptive acts or practices affecting commerce. This authority resides in Section 5 of the Federal Trade Commission Act. I think you know it pretty well. Most of you know it.
I do. This is the anti-competition part of the Federal Trade Act, and it's a serious thing. So are these companies anti-competitive? You bet they are. You bet they are. They push competitors out all the time. That's
or they buy them and then shutter them.
Same thing. It's also anti-competitive. That I think these are true issues that adhere to Section 5.
Very well. I would think you know it quite well, right? Additionally, I'm directing the Attorney General to work cooperatively with the states. He's going to be working very much and very closely in cooperation with the states to enforce their own laws against such deceptive business practices. The states have broad and powerful authority to regulate in this arena, and they'll be doing it also, and we encourage them to do it if they see exactly as we've been seeing. It's what they're doing is tantamount to monopoly, you can say. It's tantamount to taking over the airwaves. Can't let it happen. Otherwise, we're not going to have a democracy. We're not going to have anything to do with a republic. Finally, I'm directing my administration to develop policies and procedures to ensure taxpayer dollars are not going in any social media company that repress free speech.
So, I think he's done a very interesting thing here.
Well, Kayleigh took this topic on with the real messaging that the White House wants. And that is that Trump's being targeted. And I think this is unfortunately, I'm going to have to send some emails to the press group over there that Kayleigh runs, and she's running she's going over 2 minutes, and she really needs to cut.
She needs to talk in a little shorter soundbite. By the way, Kayleigh has the background of a spook. Have you looked at her? George Washington University.
Yeah, I know she's got all this.
She's got
a lot of it, but
spook potential.
Not enough travel.
Yeah, maybe she was an aborted spook. Like she had the training and then for whatever. Probably got married. Yeah. I think she's
could be.
She's an aborted. Before we play Kayleigh though, just one.
I've got information, man. New shit has come to light.
Not really new shit, but we have an insider on the Team Trump Digital, if you'd like to hear what Team Trump Digital has to say.
About Twitter?
Yes, about the executive order.
Okay, go.
Of course, this producer cannot be named. Trump was waiting for Jack to make his move. People on the digital team here had no idea what to expect, and I still don't think they know how to process it. But if I may put on my no agenda hat, isn't it weird how this week that Mika, seemingly out of nowhere, asked for Trump to be banned from Twitter? Nothing provoked her. Trump only brought up the Scarborough thing after she mentioned banning him. That's a timeline that I didn't realize.
No, that's not true.
Are you sure?
No. Yeah, I'm totally sure because where she first says, I'm going to have you're going to hear from me. Is what she did that after her rant about Trump's tweet.
I believe that, could be. I think that she started the banning thing before that, but I don't know. I'm just telling you what insiders.
Well, she said in her commentary, we played the clip. She says, I'm going to make
right.
I've bitched about this before, so she probably has.
Yes, that's it.
This is when she had the meeting with Jack was after the tweet and after her threat.
Just as important is to know what Trump Team Digital thinks. What they think is their reality. So it's just as important to know what they think. So this is good. There's that video floating around of Mika fawning over Trump, and even he said, they loved me. I'm not quite sure. That's probably where the confusion comes from.
That's something that's pre-election way. That's an old thing.
Yeah, so really it's not that interesting then. But we have someone on the inside, if it gets interesting. But it sounds like they're kind of not well informed, if that's what they're going by. Saying that, so this is, and again, this is from Trump Digital, the law is outdated. I don't think so. Written in 1996, when the only thing on the internet were message boards, and these sites, YouTube and Twitter, mainly have been exploiting this to their benefit and for control. No, the law is not enforced. But that's, I'm happy to hear that that's the way they're thinking about it, because it's incorrect thinking. The law is very good. No one enforced it. I don't think you need to change the law at all. It seems quite clear. You can take away lewd and lascivious shit you don't want, and you can't do any other stuff. Done. That's it. So I don't know if we need all the, a rewrite, but that's clearly what they're hoping for. And of course, the same people who are saying this will change the internet as we know it are the same people who got their hair on fire about net neutrality, which, of course, glad that it didn't happen, and it turns out to be okay. In fact, even better, because with the COVID-19 crisis, if we had net neutrality, you would be very pissed off about the buffering on Netflix. But instead, the dudes named Ben are allowed to go and shape the traffic and do what they need to so that you can watch your Netflix and do your telemedicine.
So let's hear what Kayleigh did. This was actually expanded upon by others, what she has to say here, but I think it's pretty complete. This is a White House perspective that she's expressing. I think she's doing a decent job of it.
And then finally, before taking your questions, I wanted to address what has been going on Twitter and with social media. I believe it is time to, quote, get the facts about Twitter and other social media platforms targeting their bias against President Trump and conservatives online. If we were to judge the bias of Twitter and its top employees by their own words, the case would be an easy one to make. Twitter's head of site integrity has tweeted that there are, quote, actual Nazis in the White House, and no fact-check label was ever applied to this absolutely outrageous, offensive, and false claim made against the White House and its employees.
Fact-check false?
But let's judge Twitter based on their actions, not based on the words of its top employees, and its actions are no better. President Trump recently received a so-called fact-check label for a tweet. It was a false fact check and an accurate fact check, but nevertheless, Twitter moved forward with it. Dan Scavino, the deputy chief of staff here, was the first user in the history of Twitter to receive a so-called, quote, manipulated media label for posting a video that played a verbatim clip. It is no coincidence that these two unbelievable interventions by Twitter were targeted against the President of the United States and one of the President's top advisors. This is bias in action. And while big tech is quick to censor the president, quick to censor some of his top employees, they are very reluctant, it seems, to label some of the actions by Chinese officials, some of the misinformation that has been spread by China. Taken paid advertising that spread disinformation about China's mass imprisonment of religious minorities, and Twitter has allowed Chinese officials to use its platforms to spread misinformation about the coronavirus, undermine the pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong, and more. And then back in March, a Chinese official began spreading a conspiracy theory on Twitter, an egregious one, that our U.S. military was responsible for the spread of the coronavirus. And that tweet, that disinformation, it took all the way until today when we raised concerns about it to get a fact check. So they appear to be very hastily eager to censor President Trump and some of his employees, but a little reluctant when it comes to China. It's a bit befuddling.
Oh, man. You're right. It's a little too long. You lose the focus after about 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's why clips generally are never over 2 minutes.
I think you're right.
But this could have been taken even further, and some other people did. But the China focus is what the White House wanted. Other people have focused on the fact that the Ayatollah has pretty much a Twitter account where he can say whatever he wants and to suppress whatever group he wants to suppress or say whatever or condemn.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about the safety of the community on Twitter, how about getting rid of some of these riot porn videos? You know, it's so inconsistent that it's obvious. You know, Jack was getting heat. He got heat because the whole Silicon Valley Democrat base is on his case. I mean, he's got Mika yelling at him. Every celebrity is always at Jack. Come on, at Jack. Come on, at Jack. I mean, come on, at Jack. Come on, at Jack.
Yeah, shut this guy up.
Shut it down, at Jack. At Jack, you're my buddy, at Jack. I'm a celebrity, at Jack. Shut it down. And so, so he has pressure. The man has pressure. He's got shareholders. What's he going to do? All right, here's us. I think this will work. Boom, executive order. And I think they wanted this fight. See, I don't know, man. But it's all just dicking around in the margins because ultimately you federate or you die. The future of the internet will not be these companies. The true internet that we use globally for good. That unfortunately will be 9600 baud dial-up only, but we'll have it.
It works.
It will work. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage to say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in counting 7 Zephyr car economies, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. In the morning, the ships at sea. Feet under air, bugs in the water, and the dames in the nights out there.
Bugs in the water? I don't know where
subs in the water.
You have not said a proper one in a long time. I think people are sad about it.
Yeah. And boom, there's another check mark.
And in the morning to our trolls in the troll room at noagendastream.com. Let's do a count. Trolls, stand still so I can count you for a second, will you? Whoa, almost 2,000, 1,980. Beautiful. It was 1981, but I kicked MS Small Biz out. I had to do that. That was fun.
Why?
Yeah, he kept saying, whenever Dvorak plays a Kaylee clip, I'm going to say, show us your tits. I'm like, it's not even funny. Just offensive that it's not funny. Go away. Troll room, ejected.
It's not funny if it was funny.
Ejected from the troll room. This is where everybody hangs out, and you can troll all you want. Of course, I have troll control, so I like to kick people in the butt from time to time, just for my own little, my own jollies, obviously. And that's where you can hang out, but also listen to new podcasts that are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The stream is running, and you can talk about it sometimes, often with the creators. And we got those live shows as well. That's noagendastream.com. Then we have the artwork for episode 1246, and we titled that one 3x3. Ooh, my goodness, we have a 3x3. An example.
Support the show. Send your cash. You will obey.
Got it? As long as you understand how it works. Yes, the title was 3x3, and the credit for the art goes to none other than Comic Strip Blogger, who brought us this artwork. And I was very fond of it. I liked it right away. It was the beak mask with all leather black, and then the Electro Voice 320 microphone held improperly, but yet in the same matte black. It was something about it that just worked.
Yeah, I was a fan of it was the piece to pick. It was funny.
Yeah.
But I was more a fan of the artwork from Sean in Bloomington.
Which one was this?
I used it on the newsletter.
Yeah.
Which is the Minnesota burning postcard looking thing.
Yes. And why did you like that? Because I don't know if my point was, I don't think a lot of people will get this.
Well, I know, but you thought the whole issue was going to be dead by the next day.
That was not my argument during the art choosing. Thanks. I did not use that as an argument.
No, you didn't use that specific argument, but that was your back thought.
No,
I'm mind reading.
No, I'm
mind reading.
I thought that
your back thought was, who cares? Who knows? Nobody even knows where Minnesota is.
That's what I thought. That the 60% of our audience, which is not in the United States, is probably going, huh? I want something to grab people's attention.
What's 60%? Our audience is 80% U.S. citizens.
Oh, really? Would you like to see the numbers?
I get the numbers.
No, that's who donates. It's a difference. We are pretty big overseas, mon frere.
Well.
Yeah.
I don't know how you have different numbers than I have.
Because I have people who download and access and not people who send money. I'm looking at...
so you're looking at the IP addresses.
Yes, I'm looking at the distribution of the show.
Well, those people should help.
well, when
now you really depressed me.
Well, if we put the Minnesota burning art up, maybe it would work. I don't know. I chose for the mask. Clearly, I'm stupido.
No, your mask thing, that was funny because it was so... Well, I thought it was ludicrous because he's got it looks like an EV20 or one of those.
EV320, yeah.
It's black, yeah, probably a 320.
Yeah.
And he's holding this like with a stick under it or something, and it's straight up in the air. And he's talking at the base of it. I mean, the whole thing is dumb.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what made it so great. And Comic Strip Blogger is still back channeling me and saying, I don't need thanks. John needs to unblock me. And I said, the reason why he's blocked you from emails because you send shitty emails like this. Stop it. But thank you so much for the art. Comic Strip Blogger was fantastic. Really enjoyed it.
I also liked the one, I liked it after the fact, which is Biden saying, only I can beat Eisenhower.
We will play the jingle since we appreciate the work so much.
Comic Strip.
Comic Strip Blogger. Comic Strip.
Comic Strip.
Comic Strip Blogger. Comic Strip.
Comic Strip.
Comic Strip Blogger. Comic Strip.
Comic Strip
Blogger.
The only troll who has talent, and a jingle.
Yes, and blocked for a reason.
Blocked for forever. Blocked, I tell you. All right, in our value for value proposition, which is, please just send us whatever you think the show is worth to you. It's so different for everybody. There's no limits. You can do whatever you want. We just want to know that you like it. You got some value out of it. If you can't send us money, do something else for the show. Clips.
Well, talk about
articles.
Overseas donors.
Okay.
The top of the list is Jacobina Kunin, the dame of the doomsday deniers in Rosmalen,
almost.
Holland.
Almost. Well, let's work on this. It's Jacobina
Kunin. I got that.
Yep. And it's Rosmalen.
Rosmalen.
Nailed it. Very good, Wilbur.
And she comes in with $1,000, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, since this is Dutch, you mind if I take this one?
Dutch. Yes, you should read it.
Thanks, man. It's great. I'll do this from Jacobina. Jens, I just donated $1,000 in honor of my brother. Exactly 50 years ago, my brother committed suicide on May 30th. He was 14 years old. My parents at the time said the nuclear bomb could drop at any time. That's why they had poison in our house that we had to take if the bomb fell. This is how afraid people were.
Jeez.
Well, my brother took that poison. He couldn't take the stress anymore. My parents thought he was a hero. He had shown the courage to leave this rotten world first in our family. Now it's 2020, 50 years later. Children are still scared. If it's not for climate change, it's for COVID-19 or something else that pops up in the media. Children are often depressed now. Yes, they are. I grant them parents who can put things into perspective for them, where love favors fear. If that had been the case in 1970, my brother would still be alive. Thank God no agenda provides that content. And now I'm writing a book. The fear in my brother's life has so many parallels with the fear in the lives of children today. That's why I want to tell my brother's story. Thank you for all that you do. Well, Jacobina, I can't wait to read the book. So make sure that you send that to us. And thank you so much for supporting the show and for pointing out that the type of information that we try to share, it can be very helpful. And
this reminds me of we've had clip after clip because we find it so pathetic. These young women, and mostly young women, that are, because I think the influence of Greta. Mm-hmm. Greta's responsible for a lot of this.
Yeah.
And they're in these protests, and they're saying no one's doing anything. I don't know what's going to happen. They're literally in tears because nobody's doing anything about climate change. There's birds flying overhead. Everything's fine. Or they're bitching about climate change when they're all bundled up and it's snowing out. I mean, it's pathetic what they've done to these kids. This is child abuse at the highest order.
It's interesting.
And to make Greta some sort of a hero, she's just a kid. It makes it by the adults. The adults do this. It's really sick.
Interesting you say that. And I was going to skip this clip altogether. If you don't mind, just play. It's under a minute because it talked exactly about this. Like whatever's going on, you need to be really afraid of the real things. The UN Secretary General.
Unless we act now, the COVID-19 pandemic will cause unimaginable devastation and suffering around the world. Hunger and famine of historic proportions, 60 million more people pushed into extreme poverty, up to half the global workforce, 1.6 billion people without livelihoods, a loss of $8.5 trillion in global output, the sharpest contraction since the Great Depression of the 30s. We must avoid it. The pandemic has demonstrated our fragility. Despite all the technological and scientific advances of recent decades, we are in an unprecedented human crisis because of a microscopic virus. We need to respond with unity and solidarity. COVID-19 has exposed and is exacerbating deep inequalities and injustice that we must tackle, including gender inequality. The economic impacts are worse for women, who typically have fewer savings and lower incomes than men.
There you go.
All our efforts must go towards building sustainable and resilient pathways that enable us not only to beat COVID-19, but to tackle the climate crisis, reduce inequality, and eradicates poverty and hunger.
That sounds like a really positive message from our leaders. More leaders like that who don't scare children. We are going to die by the microscopic virus. Our technology does not work, especially gender and women, and we're all 60 million. I think that's the kind of thing we need to avoid.
Great guy. Next on the list, Michael Sabers in Penlaird, Virginia. 42732. And he says, please play the following. He puts it at the beginning. We're all going to die and take your medicine, karma. My donation of 42732 is a birthday and Father's Day gift from the loves of my life, my wife and daughters. Thank you, ladies. I may be the guy who hates everything, but I don't hate this. This puts me just one thin penny away from knighthood, and hopefully Mr. Curry can provide that 33rd cent.
There it is. Nailed it.
I'd like to be known as Sir Mike, Knight of the Precision Guesswork. Is he on the list?
Yes, he is.
Thank you both of you in the back office for what has been my favorite form of infotainment since a bit before Adam's first pipelines report. The M5M would certainly have ruined themselves for me without your help. Have ruined themselves for me.
Interesting.
So they've ruined you.
Yeah, exactly. It ruined you.
That's what you're trying to say there.
It would, yeah.
But I wouldn't have enjoyed it so much without you. My round table request, which is Diet Coke and cheese off the block.
Oh man, like cheddar, like a big goop slice of cheddar, or does he want Gouda? I mean, that's...
Where's he from? He's from Virginia. What kind of cheese do they eat? Probably cheddar.
Probably cheddar. Yeah, I gotcha.
We're all gonna die!
Just take your medicine. Just take your medicine.
You've got karma.
And thank you so much. There it is. And I've ordered the Diet Coke and cheese off the block. Cheap cheddar.
Cham Rupert's next on the list from Spring, Texas, 39996. I heard the message from the new JRE crossover tribe members.
Yes.
Time to donate is now. 2-year listener this summer. First-time donor. This donation is for my first year of listening. Monthly subscription is also set up. Please give me a de-douching and karma. Thanks, gents.
Thank you very much. And good to have you here.
You've been de-douched. You've got karma.
Sir J.D., Baron of Silicon Valley in San Jose, 333.49. PayPal screwed up the text for this, and so anyway, sends a note in. I'm hoping that you find this in the Squirrel Mail segment. I'll try to make this a simple read, as JCD has messed up the last 3 that I've sent in for producer ships past. Producer ships past. Okay. Please complain here, John. I never complain. This donation is both a birthday gift to myself and a Dame Drive donation for my delightfully delicious wife of 23 years.
Nice.
You said 23-year, by the way, who will soon join our daughter amongst the anonymous dames of no agenda, whether she wants to or not. For jingles, please give me a please clip goat scream.
Please clap.
Please clap goat scream, LGY Karma, to help mark this day. Please credit me for the executive producership on this Sunday, May 31st show. I'll submit my accounting for my smoking hot delightfully delicious spouse's damehood when we get there. Looking forward to more meetups. He's got to spell with an E-E-A-T.
Well,
just saying.
He is from San Jose.
With No Agenda, a nation soon, when and wherever we can gather in place in the world. Cheers, and keep up the good work for JD.
Yes, and we do have, we actually have meetups being scheduled. The people are not standing still. They have meetups happening. And I was going to play. I don't know what happened here. I had the old Jeb Bush. So let me just grab that Jeb doesn't want to come out of the closet here. There we go.
Please clap.
There you go.
You've got karma.
And thank you very much, Baron of
Next
Silicon Valley.
Jeffrey Evans in 333.33 in Peterborough, Ontario. And this would go to you.
Yes, he sent me a note in PDF form. I was seduced by Curry on the Joe Rogan Experience and found him even better when bantering with JCD. Hasn't been that long, but I gather from another producer that we were all born douchebags, so please de-douche me.
You've been de-douched.
As it turns out, JRE will soon no longer be an option for me, as there's no way in hell I will be coerced into signing up for a membership-based service, free or otherwise, in order to download independent media, back asswards. As for new NA, a few things for your consideration. Pandemic, panic plus Democrats. Can't unsee this. The first few episodes, now remember, this is someone who heard or saw me on the Joe Rogan Experience and decided to join our merry tribe. The first few episodes, when I heard smokin' hot all the time, I just added it to the list of strange conventions of discourse used in the show. But I started to really appreciate it. We spend most of our lives being bombarded with celebrity worship culture. We are never good enough, smart enough, cool enough, or sexy enough. Then I hear these people who routinely give their spouses that credit. I liked how it became a canon. It just seemed healthy. Creative variations are great too, but I, for one, was pulled in by the consistency of this priority. How interesting is that?
Not?
Not? What do you mean not?
This is the second complaint I've gotten about my issuance of a decree about smoking hot. And all I said, he's a newbie. This is the problem. He's a newbie, just got here. If you had been hearing this for the last 10 years, you'd have a different attitude. That's my comment on his comment.
Sure. But I'm more interested in the fact that people like that are producers, think their spouses are hot, sexy, etc. So it doesn't really matter about the words. It's about the fact.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
I'm in agreement with you. Here's a frequent one. The brain contains 2 amygdalae. So it should be my amygdala are shrinking. We know. Excuse me. But it doesn't work that way. We know, you're absolutely right, but it sounds better as just singular. Then I think they can shrink independent of each other. I was surprised.
Yes. The Democrat side shrinks and the Republican side shrinks later.
Something like that. I was surprised that it wasn't until Memorial Day that the, quote, chicken shit aspect of things was addressed. I didn't need a soldier to remind me that responding to a pandemic by literally hiding in our houses seemed rather embarrassing. But yeah, it must be extra hard to watch for soldiers or civilians who have experienced actual war. Now, he has quite a number of other things, but what I'm seeing is that he has that he's perfect for no agenda. He really is. He's got stuff on the vitamin C and it's a very nice note. And he winds up by saying, thank you for your great work and good vibes. Seriously, feeling out of place in Scandinavia these days, even while most Scandinavians probably couldn't be happier, seeing the rest of the world adopt their longstanding penchant for being obedient and polite. Meanwhile, my super hot woman Layla shows bigger tennis balls than any of us by refusing to wear a muzzle, even when entering the clinic for blood work. She said it would be wasted on her. Remember, kids, there is no lockdown, and most restrictions are self-imposed and voluntary. Your jobs and general karma has already rubbed off on me, so none needed at the moment. Thank you again. And this is Gio Ivansky, South Central Ontario. And thank you very much. Very nice note. Appreciate it.
Kaylin, this store's on the list. And he comes in with another 333.33 from Northville, Michigan. Just harvested honey, and it's heavenly. You want some? Yes, you do.
Yes,
Please
we do.
email me your shipping address so I can send you the best raw honey in the universe. Okay, we will both do that, of course.
Love that.
Goat Karma request for our upcoming lavender harvest. Your hard work is much appreciated. Sir Cal of lavenderblossoms.org.
The one and only, ladies and gentlemen. Here's for the good harvest.
You've got karma.
Huzzah!
We dropped a associate executive producer, starting with Sir Donald Borowski.
Mr. Firebottles.
He is the count, he's the count of Eastern Washington State, and Sir of the Fire Bottles count, as it were. It's
something like
confusing.
that. Yeah. Well,
he sent a note in, though, and he didn't have to put it on Federation letterhead because it's in there. Great shows lately, especially show 1244, where the origins and characteristics of SARS-2 virus were discussed. Here's my contribution for May and June, 2 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please direct my contribution to the John C. Dvorak Eyeglasses and Computer Screen Improvement Fund. ITM.
Does this exist? Does this exist? Said fund. That's very, very interesting. Are you ripping that note up now out of anger?
Balling it up. Balling it up. Craig Knowsley in Cumberland, BC. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He sent. I don't actually have a note from him, but I have an old note from him.
I don't think we have anything from him, do we?
Let me find it. Knowsley. He's mostly, he says, this is an old note from him. It's all I could find. There's no new note from him. He says, ITM, in the last of the Scandinavian Knowsleys, I cringe every time my name is understandably butchered. Hearing you struggle with my name during this donation segment while driving with my wife puts a smile on her face as she's reaffirmed in her decision not to take my name when we married.
Stop for a second. I will say right now, it's not worth the hassle. We went through this. It used to be very simple. Today's world, it is so messed up to change your name. You might as well just say it and have whatever you got. If I could, I would have told Tina not. I was so pleased and happy. I love that she would take my name. I'm sad that we decided that. That is the biggest pain in the ass in the world. Well,
why?
It never ends.
Let's hear some stories.
Oh my God, it never ends. Just think of all the things that
doesn't end.
The documentation, the standing in line. If you've also been divorced, so please show me how your name changed the first time and what you went back to and why did you choose that, and then how and where's your middle name? That isn't here, but that was on this, and that's your social security card, and then we go into all these things, and the worst is the passport, and then of course you ordered some tickets 2 months ago, which has a different name on it. Now it's a horrible thing. Is a lot of paperwork, and I think it's just because it's almost become undoable. If you're older,
the government is dissuading this process.
Yes, they are,
because they hate Christians.
Probably,
okay, sense.
Probably
makes sense.
It's one way to look at it. Sure.
Anyway, if you could help a guy out, it's pronounced Knowsley, Craig Knowsley.
Got it.
From Cumberland, BC. So I thought, I don't remember reading this note before. It's an old note, a very old note, and I thought I'd read it because I don't have a new note to read.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Craig, and thank you for your courage. In BC.
Sir Catman in Denver, Colorado, 225. And he says, I have a note. Oh, there it is.
What?
I do have a note.
Oh, the note.
And that proves
I thought another Zephyr came by or something. You were excited.
Windows 10 and Word just lost my previous start, douchebags. I'm listening to the May 24th show, and it's helping me consolidate my thoughts. I've appreciated listening to the world's best podcast. It's the greatest podcast in the universe, but that's good too. They both apply. The past several months, as it allows me to keep current and save me from frying my brain. Since the death of my brother in the last year, in September, I have been trying to complete and close his probate estate, although it is 3.5 months off. My sister yesterday became a douchebag in my attempts to close it in this period. She has failed to complete the things I have given to her, and I have had to, including his headstone. She is a hoarder and wishes to take many of his things, even though her 2 houses will not absorb any more stuff. And she has not packed all the things that are resulting in disorder in this house. I stopped there. I especially like the analysis of the COVID both of you have covered in the 24th podcast. COVID has become financial and political issue. And I went to the gym I wanted to open as soon as possible for my 74-year-old body has lost its condition prior to COVID. And Colorado's governor and Denver's mayor are douchebags in not allowing gyms in the city to open up. I guess we can give them a couple douchebags.
Yeah, I think so. For the mayor.
Douchebag.
And who was the other one? The governor?
Douchebag.
There you go.
Enough. Great analysis, and I very much appreciate what the two of you do. Jim Carlson, Sir Catman.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Sir Catman. Appreciate that.
Worked with his sister. Sir Smock.
That's why
Knight of the group.
I'm going to die poor, man. We're going to Operation Spend Down all the way. And at the end, we'll be like, sorry, kids. Nothing to fight over. It's all fine. Here's a whole bunch of MP3s of my show. Enjoy my legacy. It fits on 1 terabyte drive. See ya.
Sir Smock. Knight of the Green Chilies. 22222, and I do have a note. It's on a nice card. I like cards. Cards are nice. From Sir Smock, Knight of the Green Chilies. Jingle, Hot Pockets.
Oh, geez.
First one I heard listening since late 2011. This is Jingle, Hot Pockets. You can look it up. $5 a month since September 2012, and never a PayPal glitch. Birthday, 55 on May 27th. I believe he's on the list. I hope so.
No, hold on a second. Maybe he is. Yes, he is on the list. Yep, he's on the list.
Yes, I did send a note in on his. And that's it. Thanks for the hard work.
Oh, okay. So we got a...
Well, a fledgling...
Oops, that's the wrong one. Where is my... There it is. I think this is the one.
Hi.
No, that's not... Oh, what is this? What happened to the Hot Pockets?
Hot Pockets.
Duh. I actually have one of you doing those, I think.
Hot Pockets.
See, I found that one, and no, that's oh, here it is. This is the one.
Hot Pockets.
And I'll throw a karma in there for good measure.
You've got karma.
And last on the list in Greensburg's, Pennsylvania, is J. Appleby, $217.05, and this came in as a bank check. There was no note mailed in, and there was no note on the emails that I could find, at least not under this name. And so we just, if you have something, you want to announce or ask for, send us a note, and we'll put it on the next show.
Yeah, he's not the
and
last.
That concludes our list of associate executive producers, executive producers.
I have a different list than you do. I still have.
You still have Brian Malinowski.
Yes. And Sarah Ferdinand.
Yes, and curiously, I actually went to the trouble of looking up his email.
Uh-huh.
So I apparently had him on the list originally, but now here he is.
Do you have a note, 20101 from Brian Malinowski?
Yes, I have a note.
Okay.
I just donated a month ago, but really wanted to send another donation and express my appreciation for John C. Dvorak. When John is in his feisty moods, we share the same instigative personality traits as an instigate. I know it took everything in Adam's power to withstand his abuse, but John's constant jabs in the last show really made me smile. Not only during Adam's recap of the dog's interview, where John maintains the virus can't be carried by aerosol and insists the interview is boring without even listening to it, but when Adam transitioned to Vernon Coleman and proceeded to give his degree acronyms, John's denouncement of him purely based on the acronyms made me laugh out loud. This is a guy you don't trust, quote unquote. That's what I said. Yes. This is something I do when I want to agitate a friend or coworker, denounce whatever they are talking about despite the topic. It gives me a nice, quick laugh.
Well,
the banter between you two.
Wait, stop. There's nothing different here. It's workplace abuse. You identified it correctly. And carry on.
The banter between you two is only a small part of why I tune in twice weekly. Adam, thanks for taking it all in stride. I can feel your irritation through the speakers when you have a very long pause after John makes a degrading comment. Can you get you will obey, followed by a goat karma. Love and light, Brian.
That is a good note, and I would say even better when narrated by you. And I'll let everyone in on a big secret. After a show like that where that happens, guess what we talk about after the show? It's absolutely nothing.
The art.
We have
the
art. We have zero conversation. It's like, that is the thing I love so much. We can have words, argument, and then it's done. It's done. It is done because we both know, what difference does it make? Why am I going to keep this grudge
we
for
also
the next
both
3
know
days?
that it's good radio.
Whoa, shh, don't give away the secrets.
You will obey. You will obey. You will obey.
You've got karma.
Don't ever give that secret away. Thank you very much, Brian. Sarah Ferdinand.
You learn it in broadcasting class. Okay.
I'll do.
There's more.
I'll do Sarah Ferdinand, $200.33 from Lynchburg, Virginia. Happy 33rd birthday to Jimmy. I got your back just like I know you got mine, Jimmy. Ha! Because we're actually in this together, as our motto goes. Whatever will be, will be. This is love right here. I know that all will fall into place because God's will is done. Thanks for hitting me in the mouth, elucidating the amygdala, alien nations, New World Order, and the rest. And thanks for always making me laugh. You make it easier to get through whatever comes our way. Love, Sarah. To JCD/Adam, my husband and I, so that was to her boy, obviously. My husband and I, along with our 4 sensational descendants, live in Virginia and have been listening for about 2 years. We can't get enough of your common sense approach to this world. Keep up the stellar and captivating work. Thank you for all you do, Adam and John. Could we please have some jingles for the best Baba, that's dad, and husband in our universe? If you could do Joe Biden's little girl says, you so scary, which my second daughter, age 5, does very well. Record her. Have her do a couple of those. And she also wants a Trump space. Yes, a Trump Space Force. You got it, Sarah. Thank you so much. And Jimmy is on the list.
Don't eat me, Bo Jordan. You're scary. So scary.
Space Force.
There you go. Thank you.
Tony Zappa, $200 even.
I think it's Zappia. Zappia. I think there's an I in there. There's Zappia.
Well, I need glasses and a new screen. Tony Zappia. In Messina, New York. $200. Started listening to your podcast following the Joe Rogan show. Get back on that show. Holding down the fort in... the thing is, the real crossover point, the interesting part about it is that our show's 3 hours, Joe Rogan show's 3 hours.
Yep.
So these are people that listen to Joe that are obviously in the long format.
And yes.
And here's the thing I want to remind everybody. I want to remind you in particular. When you're, especially over at Mevio, the format should be 5 minutes.
Why are you saying this to me? Why are you saying this to me? You just
because you were the boss over there.
That was Ron Bloom who said the 5 minutes.
5 minutes. The format should be 5 minutes. And it just as part of the Yeah, it was Ron. It wasn't you. You were.
Thank you.
To be honest about it.
Hello. For the past 12 years, we've been kind of doing this. How could I be against the format?
Well, apparently not. In fact, the show's too short. We did a 7.5-hour show, ladies and gentlemen, at one time.
But you nailed it there. I think there's something that's important here. So Joe Rogan has, you're right. They're all 2.5 to 3 hours. But when he gets like the Ultimate Fighting Championship show, that's 3 hours I'm not going to listen to. I started listening to, he had some guy who was he's the book, or he runs the Comedy Store bookings or the whole program, whatever. The guy's not interested, nice guy. Joe's friends with him, but it's a guest who goes, and he just agrees with Joe, has no other input. So it's boring. And some of them you can't do, 5 or 6 great 3-hour interviews every single week. It's not going to appeal to everybody, and some of them are just not going to be that great. Some of them will be fantastic. That's where I think people like, crap, it's 3 hours. I have that budgeted in my life. No agenda show, and that's what's happening. But
we have variety on our show. It's more of a variety show. We don't have to just talk about one thing for. But
we've said it before, the support from the crossovers, that's been remarkable.
It's very unique. We've never seen anything quality
people coming from JRE. That's for sure.
Now, we do have the next guy. I want to read the next note after this. But this one says, started listening to your podcast following the Joe Rogan interview, holding down the fort in northern New York on the Canadian border. That's his note. I give him some gratuitous karma. He's not used to it.
Okay, gratuitous karma.
You've got karma.
Now, Todd Creamer comes in from Scotts Valley, $200, and he objects to the Joe Rogan experience thing. Because listen to him. I have been a follower since Adam's appearance on Howard Stern show.
Which one? In the 80s, 90s, or 2000s?
No, it's the one you did during the No Agenda era about 8 years ago.
Oh, the one that you just railed on me over. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Are you kidding me? Do you remember?
I have been getting a little perturbed by the notoriety of Rogan followers and how they've been receiving, what is this word? Laterally? Receiving flattery. That's what it must be. Flattery. I'm talking to you, JCD. The Stern Nation listeners of No Agenda may be only me and Whackpacker extraordinaire Medicated Pete.
Hey, Pete. Now, we love Medicated Pete.
Medicated Pete. But I have been a consistent contributor since Adam's 2016 call-in. Let's see if the Rogan listener lasts that long. Well, there's only two of you.
I don't understand.
You got one guy hanging in there? I don't think that's right. It's nothing to brag about. My executive producer donation also covers a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
And a happy birthday call out to my father, Rick, which we have on the list. Happy 75th, Dad. John and Adam, continue the good work, and thank you for keeping mine and my father's amygdala in check, Todd.
Well, thank you very much. And yeah, well, we didn't get that many people coming over from Stern back in the day.
I think it's a difference in the. It's worth talking about because it's an interesting study. You have anyone who listens for 3 hours. Stern is not online. That's the difference. People who are online are online, and they listen to a lot of different podcasts.
That's a good point.
We just got into the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
I think doing the Rubin Report would probably be beneficial. Going on Rogan again would be beneficial.
George, you know what? Can I just say something? Don't do that to me. Because I'm not going on the Rogan show just to get listeners. I go there because I want to have a nice chat.
Touche.
Okay. Or touche, as we say in Russia.
Well, I would.
Yeah, you don't care.
I think
you think of it differently.
You would have a nice chat. The fallout would be, of course, more listeners.
Right.
But your chat, I'm sure, would be entertaining.
Yes.
You can take this last.
Thank you very much, Todd. And finally, $200 from Sir Doug Knight of the Copper Lines from Pittsburgh, PA. John Adam, what a glorious day in the morning it is. Huzzah! Thanks to the outstanding content you both provide, my stunning sweetie has been solidly hit in the mouth. Yesterday, she uttered those magical words that I never thought I'd hear. I only get my news from No Agenda. To be fair, she added, and Rush Limbaugh. But since you guys basically are basically the prep work for Rush, I'm okay with that. No, I think that's true. Over 12 years of hearing me talk about the show, listening while riding in the car, and almost weekly asking, so what did John and Adam think about that? Your SARS-CoV-2 coverage brought her around. She used to go to Drudge to get most of her news and would come away terrified and angry. No Agenda has the perfect mix of sanity and truth that takes the fear out and helps us see the official media as not only lying to us, but purposefully aiming directly at causing fundamental change in our thinking, our society, and our way of life. No Agenda is a vaccine against false verisimilitude. False verisimilitude. Can you do that word?
I know the word. If you weren't butchering it so much, I could just rattle it right off. Now I can't.
It's verisimilitudinous.
Now,
almost.
But that's not quite it. Stop
sending us long words. You know better.
We're not that smart.
Anyway, something about the MSM being full of shit. I'm not exaggerating when I say that she has been happier and healthier since she began listening to No Agenda and moving away from other news sources. Hello. Not only that, when she found out I was now a knight, she decided she wants to be a dame. Personally, I think she was digging on the ring. Since we all know there just ain't nothing like a dame, please find my first donation in her name to make her an associate executive producer and start her journey to damehood. Please credit this donation to my easy on the eyes, fucker, Paul Cretunius. What is this word? Paul Tretunius. Ravishing wife and in residence PhD. And stop stumping the podcaster. And in residence PhD statistician Linda Lowenstein. John, for my money, smoking hot is still the best and most succinct description. Yeah. But hey, I get it. Thank God for the thesaurus. Yeah, you clearly used it on this note. By the way, John, your Living Beyond 120 clips were outstanding, and I recommend highly that everyone go listen to the entire podcast. What a fantastic find. Anyways, we have several big changes coming in the next month or so my long-term contracting job is finally ending, and with it about half of my income. Wow. Also, Linda is looking for work, and we're looking to buy a house, so if it's not too much trouble, please play the following jingles. Reverend Al, Resist Me Much, There Ain't Nothing Like a Dame, and Nancy, Jobs, House Buying Goat Carmen with all my heart, and hopes for No Agenda to be here for many years to come. Sir Doug, Knight of the Copper Lines in Pittsburgh, thank you very much, sir, for your courage.
But resist we much. We must, and we will much about that. Be committed.
Dame Drive, it's a Dame Drive, and baby, you can be a dame.
You've got karma.
There it is. I think he meant something else, nothing but a dame, but that one will work. And that, I believe, does indeed conclude our support, our executive producers and associate executive producers for episode 1247, 1247 of the best podcast in the universe. Thank you so much. These credits are ones you can use anywhere that credits are recognized. This was good support, long notes, but sometimes it's just necessary. People got a lot to say, and we appreciate it, and we try and turn it into content. And we will do it all again on Thursday. Remember us at
Dvorak.org/NA.
So now you know a little bit about the Somali situation. Go out and propagate that stuff.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up,
New World Order.
Shut up,
slave. And for anybody interested, pulchritudinous is a synonym for beautiful.
Ah, very nice. I would like to pop this in. Let me just see if I'm here. Yes, the masks. I need to jump into masks for a second. So now we have a full-on push for wearing masks in public. We heard Cuomo on the last show. Masks are cool.
Yeah, I just should mention something on the last show. You had a clip, which we didn't elaborate on it, but it was, I don't know if it was Cuomo's, it was somebody else's actually, where they're saying the new normal is going to be wearing masks like all the time forever.
I don't remember any clip of someone saying it all the time.
It was
forever.
it was just hinted at, but I didn't. It was my fault for not pointing it out. But I think this is going to be suggested, and I think it was suggested in that clip that mask wearing. We're going to be wearing masks through summer. I mean, this is nonsense. It's nonsense. You can't be wearing masks all the time. The time, you're going to get carbon dioxide poisoning.
Well, there's
in your own air. It's like, why don't you put a bag over your head?
So let's start. Well, okay. So this is what Cuomo said. We had it on the last show. I think I can move it up to the masks are cool part.
Mask is now here. Cool.
There we go.
I believe it's cool.
Cool.
If I could sign an executive order that says
cool,
wearing
baby.
a mask is officially cool. There is a certain amount of informing the public and accepting a new type of standard.
Yeah, new normal.
Wearing the mask has got to be something you do every day. When you get up, when you walk out of the house, you put the mask on.
Without a doubt, I agree. This is implying it's for a long time.
And I said the other day, New Yorkers want to reinforce it for other New Yorkers. This is cool. You want to encourage people to do this. By the way, they have all sorts of color masks. You don't have to have a boring mask like my mask. I'm a boring guy. They have color masks. They have masks that say things. Some people coordinate their outfit with the color of their mask. And this has to be part of literally who we are and what we do every day. That does not mean when someone doesn't wear a mask, we should be rude to that person.
Yeah, it does.
Or be obnoxious to that person.
Yeah,
but
obnoxious. Yeah,
this has got to be part of every New Yorker's fashion and design and clothing and outfitting, wearing the mask. It makes a real difference. And if you think that's all talk, answer for me.
What did you say?
Animus was right. He says we're turning it into a Sharia country where all the women's got their face covered.
Well, I will continue here. So the mask is a big thing. And I would like to point out, I'm very worried that I'm being told here that we have to wear masks everywhere in public the minute I get up. And apparently before I even really leave the house, got to put my mask on. I'm very worried for my daughter and my future daughter-in-law, who clearly are going to die because the Netherlands has no mask requirement. They must be stupid. They must be completely idiotic in that country. And that's not the only country where they don't require masks. How about the United Kingdom? How about France? Why? What's going on? They're all going to die over there. Or is it just... Are you just trying to do what Animus said? I don't know. Let's listen to Aaron Burnett with Dr. Reiner. Dr. Reiner is a cardiologist, but that doesn't matter. We'll bring everybody on who has a couple of letters behind their name to say something nasty about Trump and masks.
Look, the president today, with these retweets, so many viewpoints, he comments, with a columnist saying that this is about social control as opposed to medical reality. Another one equating masks to...
Let's just stop at that for a moment. The president of the United States, through Twitter, insinuated this is not for medical reasons, but for control. This is something that I don't think we just gloss over it. I also happen,
not only that, but
I happen
what is
to agree.
I agree too, but what is he implying? He has to say social control by whom? It's not him.
Oh, right. That would be better, that message. But let's just stop at the fact that there's that accusation at all. And it's just glossed over here. To me, that's like, wow, really? We should look at that. And if you go back in the history in San Francisco, they had the anti-mask league because after the Spanish flu, same thing. Everybody was forced to wear masks. They organized to protest against the mandatory mask wearing. And obviously, the mandate went away for about, 95 years. But here we are again.
Medical reality. Another one equating masks to silence, slavery, and social death. Obviously, this is shocking. And completely false when it comes to so many viewpoints.
False, really?
Yeah, the piece that the president retweeted could have been written by a Russian bot.
Oh, of course. Oh, there you go. The cardiologist.
It's essentially disinformation. The irrefutable concept is that universal masking, having the entire country wear a mask in public, would have dramatically reduced the death rate in this country.
Really now? I would love to see those stats, Mr. Cardiologist. There's no evidence for that. There's no evidence.
Dramatically reduced the death rate.
Huh?
Science.
In this country. It's not up for debate. It's just science.
I predicted it.
Let's do it again. It wasn't that hard to predict, but I like it.
Dramatically reduced the death rate in this country. It's not up for debate. It's just science. Look, the president has an irreconcilable conflict of interest. And the conflict of interest is this. He's running for president during a pandemic. And some of the things that one would need to do to suppress the pandemic run counter to his election chances. Right. He needs to make things look like the country is returning to normal. And wearing a mask is decidedly abnormal.
Can you believe this guy's logic? That's his logic. The president doesn't want people to wear masks because it doesn't look normal, and not being normal reduces his chances of being reelected. Cardiologist.
So he's a pollster too?
Yeah, the guy's amazing.
His lives. So he not only does he not promote universal mask wearing, he then promotes essentially negative comments about it. It's maddening. You know, I've lost family members to COVID. You know, my colleagues at work have lost family members, and pretty soon everyone in this country is going to know somebody who has lost somebody to this virus.
Oh, well, let me write that down, John. Put that in the red book. Make sure. Huh?
Well, let me guess. She now asks him, who did he lose? So we can confirm that, right?
Please.
And to think that the president of the United States would not promote the simple public health measure of wearing masks is insane.
No, you're insane, because there is just zero evidence of anything you say protecting others from shit you may be spewing out. Yeah, possibly, although we'll talk about that in 1 second. After we go to our third clip, I think Governor Inslee of Washington State.
The most fascist of all the governors in the entire country.
Really?
Yeah.
You're calling him a fascist. Why? What is he? What is the...
He's a fascist.
You just sound like Antifa. Tell me what he did that's fascist.
I'm like Antifa today, this guy. He's the worst. He keeps... I can do a whole segment on it, because all I get from Mimi is one message after, here's what he's doing now. Here's what he's doing now. He's making these edicts. He's telling us to do this, and he's telling us to do that. The guy's a maniac.
Maniac, but is he fascist? I mean, what specific fascist thing has he done?
I will take this as a personal challenge, and I will document these fascist motifs that he has been exhibiting.
When I listen to his clip, I feel nothing but warmth. I don't think that. How can this man be a fascist? He has our best interests at heart.
I'll have Dr. John Lynch talk about the effectiveness of facial covering in a moment. But I consider this really good news that we have now shown that facial coverings can be very effective in protecting the other person. When I wear it, it can protect you. And that's really good news, because we can protect other people. When we do an individually small thing, it can have a huge impact on another person's life, namely that they don't become infected. And we know that each one of us can be infected, and we don't even know it, because we know we may have no symptoms forever and still be able to transmit this disease. So when
I'm sorry, let me just... We know we may have no symptoms forever, but you could still infect someone. The insinuation is you could be carrying the virus forever.
Everybody's Typhoid Mary.
And still be able to transmit this disease. So when we wear a face covering in public, in grocery stores and retail stores as they reopen, in our places of work, I really think a face mask, a face covering is an expression of love. It's an expression of affection for the people around us.
That's right, baby. Thanks for loving me. That's what I'm going to do. Every single person with a mask. Hey, I'm going to go up real close. Hey, thanks for loving me with your mask.
And you might think of it as a badge of commitment.
It's a badge of commitment. It's like getting married.
Commitment to each other to keep each other safe. And I think it's something that we can be proud of when we do this. And we can be pleased that it has now been shown to be an effective and critical tool in moving forward.
Bull crap. But anyway, it sounded pretty fascistic to me. What we have learned since the last show is that the mask wearing may be appropriate in certain environments as we received a lot of information from producers about the transmission of coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 through aerosol, which was a discussion we had, which I could not answer. You certainly have more experience with physics than I do. Based upon what you've seen, and I'll just read the highlights, a study out of thin air, an inexpensive action lowers hospital infections and protects against flu, New York Times. Not whether you're exposed to coronavirus, how much, New York Times. High humidity leads to loss of infectious influenza virus from simulated coughs, National Institute of Health. Do you feel that you have a better understanding and agree with the possibility of transmission through the air?
Yeah, well, the problem I was having, and I'm going to explain this because I got a number of notes from everyone explaining it to me with studies and some of the tasks and the rest. And now I have to say that because that was my problem, I was not understanding the mechanism.
And I had no argument. I didn't understand.
No, and you wouldn't give him. You weren't helping
because I was not helping.
So I was befuddled, and I had a strong opinion. And
Very
then I was
strong, yes.
Yeah, it was strong. Well, you got to do that. I'm not going to get any results if I sit here and go, well, I don't know. Blah. So I had a strong opinion. Everybody that knew better, they sent me a note, and it explained it thus. The micro droplets, a little bitty aerosol, it's not anything that's in the air, say this just a particle of the virus in a low humidity environment will stay in the air for a long time. I thought that they would all dissipate and vaporize because the low humidity causes vaporization of water, for example, or alcohol or anything. But no, that apparently the particle is very small in a low humidity environment would just float around a little longer. In a high humidity environment, because there's a lot of moisture in the air, the moisture in the air will glom on to the particle and drop it to the ground. Now, it wasn't one or two people there was a number of people that used this as a simplification of the mechanism, and I accept that. Okay, I'm in. So now I will not discuss this aspect of it anymore because I now understand what they're talking about, what it all means.
Excellent. And so for anyone who wants to follow up on it, you can go to nashownotes.com.
Send a note to AdamMcCurry.com.
Go to nashownotes.com. Half the people, you said, I got a number of notes. Yeah, forwarded by me, since no one will email you. They email me. John, you're wrong. AdamMcCurry.com. And great. It's aerosol versus droplets. You can find it in the show notes. And there's some other stuff there about masks. I think it was the Federalist, I think, that the president retweeted. Mandatory masks aren't about safety; they're about social control. And you can read that. And I happen to agree. I did order and receive my beak mask, similar to the artwork from the last show. Although it's more like a steampunk version, so it's that dark brown leather. It's not the black. Which I ordered because I thought it would go better with my boots.
The dark brown?
Yeah. So it's
I'm going to stop the show here.
It's so creepy. I'm just saying, it's so creepy. I don't even want to take a picture of it. But yeah, you got to stop the show. Do I have to hit stop?
No.
Oh.
Well, now that you just said that it's so creepy, you don't even take a picture of it. I was saying to you after the last show, and we do discuss a few things, not zero. It was discussed during the picking of the art. You said you wanted one of these. Yeah. I said that you'll never wear it outside. You won't have. It's just something you're not going to do. I think I may have said you don't have the guts to do it, but I just don't think you'd do it. I don't think anybody would.
Okay.
Have you decided that you're going to wear it outside?
Well, first of all, I don't remember you saying that, and there's no proof. So I don't know if that happened. I think you're making that up. I don't remember that. No, I won't wear this outside. It is so frightening to look at. I will take a picture and send it to you for the newsletter. But it's so scary.
Okay, well, that would be nice. So we'll put in the first newsletter available where there's a slot.
It's literally unsettling. It's just unsettling. It's really not a great vibe at all whatsoever. Then this last bit. Oh, yeah, this is about opening up. Let me see if I haven't. I just want to make sure I got everything. So I've got models. I'm just going to go down my list of stuff that I have. Models and data. 98.1% of all COVID-19 deaths in Massachusetts had an underlying health condition. 98.1%. That's very interesting. lots of angry people about the hydroxychloroquine study that was immediately used to discredit it.
Yes, the Lancet report.
Yes, which is, I mean, we've been through this several times on the show, why it's no good, because, they didn't even use zinc in any of the trials, and it was just not it was the wrong study. It was, you can say whatever you want, but it doesn't matter because our good Dr. Fauci is happy to use that to say it's so bad it should almost be taken off the market.
I'm not so sure it should be banned, but clearly the scientific data is really quite evident now about the lack of efficacy for it, and even the possibility that there could be, not could be, but there's, the likelihood that under certain circumstances might be rare, but you'd see it.
I like having this clip because one day we'll come back to it, and Fauci will hang for his part in this. He will hang for what he did here. The only reason he's doing this is he wants to push, and I don't think they want to push remdesivir at this point. It's such a horrible thing. It's not working.
Doesn't work.
He wants to keep the vaccine on the radar. But to say that this drug, he kind of skirts around it. Well, not really, but it could really be very dangerous, but not really, kind of, but it's no good.
There's, the likelihood that under certain circumstances might be rare, but you'd see it. Adverse events, particularly with regard to cardiovascular and the arrhythmias that may be associated with it. There was suspicion of that for a while, but as data comes in, it becomes more clear. So I'm not so sure he'd want to ban it, but certainly the data are clear right now. When we first developed the vaccine, I said it would be about a year to a year.
Listen to his words here. I left this in because of what he said. I'll play it again. Listen.
Certainly the data are clear right now. When we first developed the vaccine, I said it would be about a year to a year and a half, and that was in January.
Am I hearing things where he's saying when we first developed the vaccine, it would be between a year and a half? Does that mean they already had the vaccine developed?
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's a very small
I know what you
difference.
mean now that you mention it, but I'm going to play it one last time.
Becomes more clear. So I'm not so sure he'd want to ban it, but certainly the data are clear right now. When we first developed the vaccine, I said it would be about a year to a year and a half, and that was in January. So a year from January is December.
I think he said that they already had the vaccine. We developed the vaccine because they didn't develop it in January, or was it already done? He said it would be a year. The year is for the testing. There's tons of these vaccines in trial, but I know he's talking about the Moderna one because that's the one he's involved with. Feels to me a little weird, the past tense.
It does. It was yeah. Well, I have one HCQ clip.
Mm-hmm.
This was taken from Al Jazeera. And it had the same thing, and they failed to talk about the Lancet phony baloney-ness of the Lancet article. And they have their own guy. They have another Fauci clone. He looks like Fauci, sounds like Fauci. He's another one of these doctors that's in up to his neck. He's kind of more evil looking because his teeth are all kind of this baked bean color.
Oh, is he European?
No, he's not. He's an American.
Okay. Wow.
The World Health Organization has suspended a clinical trial of the anti-malaria drug hydroxychloroquine as a COVID-19 treatment. It cited safety concerns. US President Donald Trump said recently he was taking the drug, but has since stopped. The WHO and health authorities around...
Wow, nice way to put it, doesn't it? Isn't that... Trump was taking it, but it says he's since stopped. Isn't that interesting?
Well, there's that, and you only take a certain... You take it for like what they told us from that other clip.
Right.
Just like a 6-day dose or something.
But the implication is, oh my God, he had... the way she said it was kind of like...
Yeah, it said as though... And this WHO thing... I think this is really smart for Trump to just kill funding for this operation. But everyone's all upset about it. All the world globalists are all upset. Oh, WHO is our in. Now they're taking the financing away from it. Gates is going to have to pay for it.
Treatment. It cited safety concerns. US President Donald Trump said recently he was taking the drug, but has since stopped. The WHO and health authorities around the world have warned of the drug's potentially dangerous side effects. There's also no definitive proof that it is effective against the coronavirus.
The executive group has implemented a temporary pause of the hydroxychloroquine arm within the Solidarity trial, while the safety data is reviewed by the Data Safety Monitoring Board.
What is the Solidarity trial all about?
They've killed the testing of the drug because they really have been told by somebody to take it off the list. They don't want to test it. They don't want to prove that it might work. They don't want to do anything with it. And now they got this Safety Solidarity Board or some bull crap that's out of the blue. And this is like proof that the drug's no good. This is a crazy story.
The other arms of the trial are continuing.
Lawrence Gostin is a global health law professor at Georgetown University, and he joins us now from Washington, D.C. Thank you for your time. Given everything that President Trump has said about this drug, hydroxychloroquine, does this put him in an awkward situation, do you think?
Well, unfortunately, the president has never been daunted by clinical evidence or scientific trials. It should give him pause, of course. But remember, the President Trump.
He does sound just like Fauci. That's incredible. He's from the same milieu. He's got the...
Yeah, you nailed it. He's from the same milieu. And the thing is, this guy is just an overt Trump hater that Al Jazeera puts on the air to just and he never really says anything about efficacy of the drug or anything else. He just blasts Trump. Well, Trump's an idiot. He never listens to the experts. He doesn't have it. He did things too late. Blah, 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 blah. Trump. And it's like, and the guy is just a creep.
Should give him pause, of course. But remember, the President Trump's own regulatory agency, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, had earlier issued a warning about using hydroxychloroquine outside of carefully controlled hospital conditions or clinical trials. And he ignored his own public health agency. He has a very well-known hostility to the World Health Organization. So I wouldn't think that this would change his mind at all, but it should.
My God, these people. I mean, they're so anti-science. They are literally anti-science. They're pro-money, anti-science.
I think that's true. But he goes on longer. I didn't clip the whole thing, but at the very end, he says, well, he says Trump hates science. And he kind of finishes with that. And I'm listening to this going, what kind of a report is this? Not a report. This guy had nothing to say about anything except Trump, and he didn't like Trump. Okay, we get it.
It's for infantile people. Infantile. This is insane what they're doing. Well,
yeah.
I hope people see through it, and we'll continue to try it. No, I think we have enough people who've got our goggles on who see stuff.
The doctors will still prescribe it, the ones that know what's going on.
Oh, but I mean in general. In general, all the information, everything Trump says is wrong, bad, and against science.
I have an entremont if you want me to go there.
I was just going to go straight into let's thank some people.
Well, the entremont would be perfect then.
Okay, but you have to stop smacking the lips.
Oh,
gotta promise me. Gotta promise me. Yep. Entremont?
Now, you're the guy who came out some time ago to saying that this Tiger King thing is going to be the big hit and all the rest.
Yeah, I think that was right. It was the hit of the lockdown.
So I found a reviewer.
Yeah.
That I think nails it. And it also produced a number of ISOs that will work out.
Oh, we like that.
And this reviewer is very famous. You might recognize him by his voice. But let's play Tiger King Review.
Hey, Twitter world, yours truly. I just got back from the golf course where I actually played pretty well.
OJ.
Now it's back at home, back to the couch, and back to television. Listen, I've had so many people on my case asking me to watch some show called Tiger King. Well, yesterday I watched this show, and oh my God, is America in this bad a shape? I watched about 6 episodes of this show, and I couldn't even believe what I was looking at. White people! What's with you and wild animals? Leave them animals alone.
Never seen Mike Tyson, OJ?
The show is crazy, but it's so crazy you kind of keep watching. One thing I will say, there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that lady's husband is Tiger Sashimi right now. I'm just saying. Take care, and I hope you find something better to watch.
Wow. Peak irony on OJ.
I thought so.
Blaming the woman, Carol. Hey, big cats and kittens. Blaming Carol on feeding her husband, killing her husband. The irony is boing, 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 boing.
Yep, a winner.
You know what? Just because it's OJ, so it's like shooting in front of open goal. So I think borderline is appropriate.
Borderline. Clip of the day.
You got some ISOs, you said?
Yes, I picked up a bunch of ISOs. We'll just go over these real quick before we go to the segment.
Okay.
And one is from Judy, and it's called, and it's It.
It's a tall order.
Okay, yeah, that's cute.
She actually said it's a tall order.
It's a tall order.
It's a tall order. Yeah, that's cute. She's good.
Then I have the ISO, Tiger King ISO.
Tiger King.
Okay.
All right, you didn't think that was any good, I can tell.
No, not super.
All right, here's one that is going to, I think, win the day.
It's the topper.
And this is Show is Crazy.
The show is crazy.
Yeah, it's because our show is crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's perfect for us. I like it. It's decided. Make it so, number one. Huzzah! This is where you say huzzah.
Huzzah!
Very good.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab.
Yeah, on No Agenda. In the morning.
I need to start off.
A few people
I need to start off with a quick make good, if you don't mind, quickie.
Please.
This is from Brett Morris in Rockwall, Texas, and now he sent I believe it was a $50 or $100 donation on the last show. He's brand new, didn't quite understand how it works, and he didn't understand why the note wasn't read. Normally we catch these because he said, here it is. First-time donor, please de-douche me.
You've been de-douched.
I found your show after hearing Adam on the Joe Rogan Experience. I'm so grateful for the amygdala shrinkage during these trying times. Adam has mentioned AA and other 12-step meetings being closed and how it could negatively affect the recovering community. I've recently started a recovery podcast called Recovery Survey. I think it could be a great resource for people in recovery. Keep up the good work of deconstruction of the M5M. Brett Morris from Rockwall, Texas. So normally I catch stuff like that and we'll bring it up in this segment. But I didn't that time, so I wanted to make sure we got that out. And, welcome and thank you for your support. And I think it's cool that you did that podcast. It's helpful for people.
And I believe Gina is still in the void. I didn't get her note.
Still in the void?
So I think she's still in the void. When you get in there, it's really hard to get out.
Very hard, yeah.
I'm on it.
Okay.
And she will be out of the void next show, I hope.
Okay.
Eric Makowitz, not sure. He's in
Makarowitz.
He's in Socorro, New Mexico, and he came with $120. And he will be upgraded to baronet.
Yeah, I think it's Makarowitz.
Makarowitz, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Riley Koppelman in Houston, Texas. 11533 needs a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
And we'll put you on the list for some karma at the end. Sir William Durkin in Greensville, South Carolina, 10101. Riley, by the way, was 11533. Baroness Judy Schwartz got a birthday in Bernie, Texas, $100.
Very good. May I compliment you on that?
Chad Belcher in probably Diverville or probably Diverville, Mississippi, 100. Ken Benjamin in Louisville, Kentucky, 100. Andre Pietju.
I think it would probably be Pichu.
This is dead. Okay, let me get it. A Pete Joe. Huh? Andre Pietjo.
Pietjo.
Pietjo. Okay,
Yeah.
Pietjo.
And where is he from?
And he's in Rijswijk.
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 No, Wijk.
Wijk?
Yeah, Rijswijk.
Rijswijk.
There you go. Now do it with your right hand in the arm. Do a Rijswijk. Come on, you practice at the meeting.
Matthew Fatelli in West Lafayette, Indiana, 8008. He did send a note.
Hey, he has a boob donation here.
Yeah, he's got a boob donation.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I wanted to read the note, he sent it in, is on a card, and I'll read all notes sent in on cards. It's a boob donation from my smoking hot, crossed out, hotter and hammered hell friend. She's 70 and he's 75.
Sexy.
This Memorial Day for all us vets, POWMIA. You are not forgotten. Karma for all of us, please. We surely need it. Thanks.
I'm going to do that karma right now because it involves that.
Yes.
We got to do it right away.
You've got karma.
So,
yes.
Martin Rutkowski, 7979. Baron Mark Tanner comes in twice a month at 7654 in Whittier, California. Sir Jim Zuckel in Beverly Hills, 6969. Give us a report on the broken windows. John Boyd in West Hollywood, 6969.
Give us a report from West Hollywood, too. You guys should hook up. You're not that far away.
Yeah.
Sir Jim
Gary
and John.
Blatt in Wayne, Pennsylvania is far away. He's at 6660. Sir Dwight of the Kite? Is it?
No, Dwight the Knight. Dwight the Knight.
Oh, it says Dwight the Kite on here.
Oh,
Dwight the.
I think it's Dwight the Knight.
I think it's Dwight the Knight. In Burlington, Ontario, Canada, 6120. DC girl in Alexandria, Virginia, got a birthday coming up. Happy birthday, Chris Wilson. Also, Sir Dwight the Knight has a birthday of some sort.
No, it's his niece Emilia. She'll be 5 on Monday.
Robert Bruckner in Viscount Bruckner in Gilbert, Arizona, 5555. Scott of the Tall Corn, Davenport, Iowa, 5510. David Nixon, 5510 in Montreal, Quebec. Ivar Vanderneld in Wageningen.
Wageningen.
Wageningen, 5510. Sir Eric Hokel in Melrose, Deutschland, 52. And he's he's probably got to be higher than Sir by now. Chad Belcher in D'Iberville, Mississippi. Didn't we just have a D'Iberville guy?
We did.
Well, maybe he's coming in
Hold
twice.
on a sec. It is. It's Chad. Chad twice, I guess. D'Iberville. Yes, Chad comes in twice. Thanks, Chad.
Okay. Rabbi.
Wait. I'm sorry. He has a note here. This is my second donation, second of the day, the first one for $100. I had no idea how to add a note to the donation, so I figured I would give another one. All right, he wants his note to be read. I came over from Joe Rogan's show, and Adam's appearance was perfect timing since I've been listening during the COVID coverage. I'm not sure my amygdala would be swollen out of... If I'm not sure, my amygdala would have been swollen out of control now. No Agenda is now a staple of my podcast shows. Keep up the good work, and I'll try to donate now regularly. I get a ton of value from the show. By the way, found out about Mo Facts a few days ago, donating there as well, but same story. And thank you very much, Chad. Welcome, citizen.
Rob Sandelin in Helsinki, Finland, 51. The following people are $50 donors, all three of them. Sir B. Boop, Anonymous, and Christopher Kessler in Marshfield. Anonymous is in Chicago. Chris is in Marshfield, Wisconsin. And then we have a first name list of people that are a part of the new Karen Club. They're donating $49. As I hate donation because they all dislike the Karen that's out there. We'll have some Karen clips next show. Joseph, Stephanie, Robert, Stephan, Derek, Noel, Sonia, Danielle, William, Marcel, Marcel's not.
No,
but it's only his
William's
first name. I'm not worried about it. So it's short, and it's gotten down to 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
5,
I think the hate is over. I don't think it's a viable promotion.
I'm going to give it one more shot.
One more shot at the Karen 19.
If we don't get more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
then it's done.
Then I'm not going to do it anymore.
I mean, we got to have more Karen donations than Zephyr cars, don't you think?
But we did 9.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's cutting it pretty
that's a
close.
good way of doing it. Yeah, as soon as it drops below the Zephyr. If we have a 6-car Zephyr, you can hang in there for a while. But
if you go below,
I think it's back to 7.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Well, thank you all very much. Thank y'all. And want to thank y'all who came in under $50, not part of the Karen donation, as those are usually for anonymity, but also people with long-standing support in the form of subscriptions. Really appreciate it. Thank you. It's great value. It is the way the show has been working. I love how people understand what's going on here. You get value. You provide it back. Many ways to do it. This is one of them, and it's certainly important for the show. And we will do it again on Thursday, so please, 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 please go to our following web address.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Just for good measure, how about some jobs, Karma?
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got Karma.
It's your birthday.
Well, that's it. Last day of the month. Here's our birthday list. The producers who celebrate and like to celebrate with our birthday celebrators. Michael Sabers, he'll be celebrating tomorrow. Sir J.D. Baron of Silicon Valley, happy birthday to him. Sir Smock, Knight of the Green Chilies, 55 on the 27th of May, so a little belated. Sarah Ferdinand says happy birthday to her husband, Jimmy. He'll turn 33, the magic numbers, on June 2nd. Todd Creamer, happy birthday to his father, Rick, who turned 75. Baroness Judy Schwartz is celebrating. And Sir Dwight the Knight says happy birthday to his niece Emilia. She turns 5 tomorrow. And DC Girl, as you said, sends love, hugs, and kisses to the birthday boy. He celebrated a couple days ago. Sir Chris Wilson, happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. Woohoo! And 1, 2, we got 2 knightings. So I will grab my blade. You got your blade?
There you go.
Got your blade? Nice blade. Nice. Up on stage, please, Michael Sabers and Eric McCarowitz. Both of you are now becoming Knights of the No Agenda Roundtable, although I think Sir Eric, oh man, it's crazy. He's already, well, let's just do it properly. I hereby pronounce the KT, Sir Mike. Oops, where'd it go? Knight of Precision Guesswork, and Baronet Sir Eric, both of you Knight of the No Agenda Roundtable. We've got Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay. Also, special offer Diet Coke and cheese off the block. I've got some cheddar right here. Cold brew coffee and cannabis, goat chops, goat milk, Polish potato, vodka, ginger ale and gerbils, bong hits and bourbon, and of course, the mutton and the mead is our favorite. So head to noagendanation.com/rings. Hand over as much of your info as you can, which will be necessary to get that out to you. Eric the Shul will ship it off. And, of course, we will then have your sealing wax included with the ring and your official certificate. And thank you again for supporting the best podcast in the universe.
No agenda meetups.
Indeed, it's like a party, and we have a meetup report as the meetups crank back up. This is our meetup report from Kansas City.
All right, No Agenda Nation, this is Sir Spencer, Wolf of Kansas City, coming at you with another KC meetup report.
Hey, Dame DeLorean here. Hey, No Agenda Nation, what's up?
So, after striking out twice in a row at dog park meetups during the lockdown, we were actually able to have a successful meetup at a live music venue event, Knucklehead Saloon in KC.
I like this full report here. It's interesting.
We were joined in person by Matt, a producer from the Kansas side over in Lenexa, as well as C. Mike off of No Agenda Social. He was there in spirit, still tooting at us. So it was a really successful event, in our opinion. As Comic Strip Blogger said yesterday on the No Agenda Social, in life, all efforts, you need small wins to keep yourself motivated, so don't do too much too fast. That's exactly how we felt. We felt great about it. We even had a little foamer moment out there at the concert.
That's interesting.
Here's a foamer for you.
We had great weather. We had great discussion. All in all, it was a great time. So for next month, last Saturday of the month, just keep your eyes peeled on noagendameetups.com. We'll be coming at you with yet another KC meetup. Thank you for your courage.
Oh, thank you for your courage. I love that. Nice report. Very interesting. Here's what's coming up for meetups as we crank them back into action. You can find everything at noagendameetups.com. June 6th. That is upcoming. We'll probably, what is that, Friday, I think? Probably. This is the South Austin No Agenda Local 512 Producers, Not a Slaves, and Even Douchebags meetup. Sir Scott, Black Baronet, Knight of the No Agenda Armory, organizing with his lovely wife, along with guest co-organizer Sir Tyler Fox, a ham and pilot, hosting the No Agenda Tribe for the reboot of the Local 512 monthly dose of sanity. Oh, it's Saturday. Saturday, June 6th, 2 p.m., Doc's Backyard Patio in Sunset Valley. I cannot not go. It feels like I really have to be there, so I'm planning on that. And then there's some info about no masks are required, but we do have 6 per table, so find out all the details on noagendameetups.com. And then just to put it out there a little bit further, on Sunday, June 7th, Philly Local 76 cranking back into action. All producers invited to the cookout. Sunday, June 7th, 3 o'clock at his apartment's complex courtyard in Norristown, Pennsylvania. That's Sir Scatman. More info, as I said, on noagendameetups.com. Coming up, June 20th, the Ride Up in Truckee, the first Western New York, second ever Shillinosian meetup. We have the Bisbee, Montana meetup on June 21st, a New England post-Rona meetup on June 27th. That's just what's scheduled, but a lot more is coming. Keep your eye on noagendameetups.com because, as always, it's kind of like a party when you get together.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. You want to be where everybody feels the same. It's like a party.
It's like a party. All right. Thank you all for your courage for putting this great show together. I just wanted to mention one quick thing that I discovered that goes back to something you said 30 years ago.
Wow. That's digging.
Well, this is the no evidence. And I just wanted
the no evidence, yeah.
I wanted to add something to that. So at one point you said there's no evidence people want to use a mouse, and I think at that time there was no evidence. Fine.
No, this was in 1984 when the mouse was shown, brought out. It actually got brought out by the Lisa a year earlier, but
right.
It was that era, and I said there's no evidence that people want to use these things, and there wasn't. If there was, I would have said there's evidence, but there was just.
So I just want to say that. And so how many years ago is that? 34 years ago?
40 years ago.
40 years
Almost.
ago.
35 years ago. 36 years ago.
No, man. It's 20 plus. Yeah, 36 years ago. So during the Rona, I took the time to do something I really wanted to do for a long, long time. I wanted to see if I could live complete command line. One terminal window, one command line. And now, of course, you cannot live only command line in today's web world. You need a browser. So you have to. So to me, it was like, I need to be able to do everything I want in one terminal window. So it's basically a Unix shell and a browser. And I have to say that I have set up my system, which is, it's so fast. I'm able to process so much information and get so much done and still enjoy all the multimedia that I need to. When you send a Word doc, I can still look at it, edit it, whatever. I can still be on the web. But here's the thing that I noticed, and it kind of hit me. It's like, holy shit, this is the difference. With command line, you have all these little programs. So it's, you got a text editor, you got an email program, and even, command line, text-only web browsers. There's lots of different applications. What's interesting and different is that you can string these apps together. Every app has an input and an output. It can be something you type in, but you can take the output from one. So, for instance, I can say, I want to take this email, I want to take this section of it, I want to filter out the name for anonymity, which is a second app, and then I want to put it into this file over here. So 3 apps, but I personally can script, as they call it, string those together. And that's when I realized that's the problem with the graphical interface and the mouse. The only way you get to do that is by copy-paste. And it's so inefficient. And even if you want, you should, I'm sure there's a way to get information from a Word document into an Excel sheet. What does 99% of the world do? Copy paste. Formatting's off. It all sucks. And then I realized that's the problem with computers today. You have no control over linking everything together. And that is exactly what the mouse brought us. Copy paste. Is this like, am I just awakening to this fact and everyone's like, okay, Curry, whatever?
Okay, boomer.
I'll be a boomer in that. And there's lots of hip kids who are using command line.
Oh, yeah. They're just flocking to it.
But just this piping from one app into the next, it's like my computer, I've given it an overhaul of epic proportions. It's doing exactly what I want it to do. That's all.
Okay.
That's all. Just wanted to mention
that. You're happy.
I'm very well, and so in a way, I'd like to say you were right. The mouse is really. I don't even use the mouse on the web browser. I got to plug in so I can just click links by typing on the keyboard. Super. Anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. There's relevance to it.
I was always right about the no evidence. I never said the mouse was a horrible thing.
No, but
But it was inferred by everybody.
How about
read
this?
That, I guess.
How about if people had not been such dickheads about it, they probably would have noticed that you had a good point and that we were led down a path of incompatibility amongst applications where you as a user have no control of taking data from one and putting it into the next except for control paste, which turns you into a human monkey. It's insulting.
A human monkey.
It's really insulting when you think about it.
Okay, well, I've got one last clip, maybe 2.
Good.
Depends.
Good.
First, let's play this. This is the weird Supreme Court decision. Can you explain this to me, what they're talking about? I think they're just leaving information out so I can't understand it.
A divided U.S. Supreme Court rejected an appeal from a California church last night that challenged state limits on attendance at services due to COVID-19. Chief Justice John Roberts joined the court's 4 liberal justices in the 5-4 decision denying the appeal from the Pentecostal church near San Diego. The church claimed that limits on gatherings violated its constitutional guarantee of religious freedom. Justice Roberts, in an individual opinion, said that because restrictions also apply to other gatherings, it does not violate First Amendment rights.
Well, I understand what it's about. I'd have to read a little bit more about it, but what they're saying is restricting church services is not a violation of the Constitution if you do it for other things as well.
Yeah, does that make sense to you?
Not to me. I didn't see that stipulation in the
Doesn't
First
make
Amendment.
Sense to me.
No, and is this now a final decision?
Yeah, that's over. It's over.
Wow.
It's interesting how it went. The conservatives all voted, no, the church should be open, and all the liberals, they're supposed to be liberals or not. The church, shut the churches down. We're a bunch of atheists, which is not what they said, but that's what it is. But I just found that to be odd, his definition. Well, if they do it to everybody, it's like the gum theory. Well, no, stop chewing that gum, Jimmy, because then you have to give a stick to everybody in the classroom. They all have to chew gum.
That's how I grew up. Do you have enough to share for everybody?
So as if everybody wants to chew gum. Now I have. There's also a G7 report we should get out of the way. This gets a little news. It's a little newsy. Might as well move it out.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting that it's where this is going.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel's office said today that she will not personally attend the G7 conference if it is held next month in the United States due to COVID-19. The G7 was canceled because of the pandemic, but last week President Donald Trump said he is considering moving forward with hosting the meeting of world leaders. Merkel's office added that her decision could change depending on how the coronavirus spreads. The Group of Seven summit of the world's top economies was originally scheduled to be held at Camp David in mid-June, but no official new date has been set.
So that's that. And the other stuff I can move. I mean, the one last news item is the SpaceX launch. The rest of the stuff I can push to Thursday.
Yeah. Let's do the SpaceX launch. I do have a gripe about it, obviously.
Well, I don't know that it's obvious.
Oh, are you kidding me? Well, we'll play the clip and I'll tell you my gripe.
For the first time in nearly a decade, a crewed mission to space launched from the United States today. Astronauts Douglas Hurley and Robert Bacon took off in the SpaceX Dragon capsule this afternoon. If all goes according to plan, they will arrive at the International Space Station tomorrow. President Trump and Vice President Pence were both on hand today to witness the launch. The first attempt on Wednesday was called off just 16 minutes before launch. This is the first crewed mission from U.S. soil since the space shuttle program ended in 2011, and the first ever in a privately made spacecraft.
Yes, the nerdgasm was heard coast to coast. I personally don't get the big deal. I mean, they did this when I was 50 years ago when I was 4 or 5, and they did it with a tin can and an abacus. So, okay. I do like the styling. I think the spacesuits, everything looks cool. It's sleek. We were well in need of an overhaul of design. Yes. Yeah, very nice looking. However, I tune in specifically to see the booster rocket land on the barge because that's the anti-gravity tech that I'm so interested in. How is that done? And what do you see? You see 2 camera shots. One from the actual tube as it's coming down. You see the clouds coming closer, and you have one on the barge. And then just as it's about to break through the clouds so we can see the barge, temporary loss of signal. And then as it's about to land, just as we're about to see the fire flame shooting to land it, temporary loss of video signal. And oh, there it is. Now it's dead. No smoke. It's just standing on the barge. I feel very gypped by that.
You're adopting my use of the term gypped.
Yeah, and it makes me feel like I'm being hoodwinked here. I want to see that landing. Did we only see it once in some CGI thing?
I think we've seen it a couple of times.
Yeah, well, how come we didn't lose the video signal then?
Well, that's a good question. Perhaps this didn't work out or fell over or something.
Okay. Yeah, fine.
It's faked.
Thank you. It doesn't matter. It's all cool. Again, it looks cool.
Complaint.
It looks cool. Yeah, it looks cool. And that will do it, my friends. By the way, happy 36th birthday to Carolyn Blaney, part of the Hog Story. They're rolling out next on NoAgendaStream.com, so make sure you catch that. It's her birthday. End of show mixes. Nice little lineup here. We've got Rolando Gonzalez, Billy Bones. GX2 is back with the mix. Hasn't been around for over a year, maybe even longer. And Spencer Pearson will round it out. And I am coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas. We are in FEMA Region number 6, in case you need it on the governmental maps, until Thursday, everybody. In the morning, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we're still disappointed about who's not going to be the vice president. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Thursday right here on No Agenda. Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Until then, as always, adios, mofos, and such.
Things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. We just shoot right into the vein. Right into the vein. And we're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. We just shoot right into the vein. Right into the vein. We just shoot right into the vein. We just shoot right into the vein. Right into the vein. Right into the vein.
bunch of different subcultures of birds around here. There are blue jays, there's crows, there's ravens, but these doves have moved in. They've never been here before, and they moved out all the songbirds. When I first heard them, I thought an owl was up during the day. There's doves. The worst. It's driving me nuts. I'm going to get a rifle. I think I'm going to start picking them off. Okay. I need a 22.
How about a 380 ACP? I mean, come on, think about it. What's your problem?
And all they do is go, ooh, ooh. The worst. It's driving me nuts. Ooh, ooh. There's I'm a real, genuine optimist, and I see nothing but this. None of this is good. None of this is good. None of this is good. I'm an optimist. None of this is good. I'm not hanging out with you. We do this show. I mean, come on. It's never going to be anything interesting. None of this is good. You're a starry-eyed optimist. You actually think that things are going to change. None of this is good. I'm not hanging out with you. We do this show. I mean, come on. It's never going to be anything interesting. None of this is good. You're a starry-eyed optimist. You actually think that things are going to change. None of this is good. I am a real, genuine optimist.
That's bull.
We do this show. You actually think that things are going to change.
I'm expecting way too much. I know.
I'm not hanging out with you because you are an optimist.
Shut up. Shut up.
I am a real, genuine optimist.
That's bull.
We do this show. You actually think that things are going to change.
I'm expecting way too much. I know.
I'm not hanging out with you because you are an optimist.
Shut up. Shut up. Hey, you know what? I'm going to end the show. I'm very pleased to welcome Maurice de Hond.
So, from day one, even before the word existed, I was always in big data. Everybody got scared when I analyze my data. What I see all over the world, the patterns much more clear. The only way you can become affected is in an airborne way. I try to see what kind of pattern I could see with this virus. I try to see what kind of pattern I could see with this virus. I try to see what kind of pattern I could see with this virus. I try to see what kind of pattern I could see with this virus.
The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
The show is crazy.